Hello everyone, and welcome to the 2017 Psicobloc Masters Climbing Competition. We are sitting here at the Utah Olympic Park at the Spence Eccles Olympic Freestyle Pool, gearing up for the 5th annual Psicobloc competition. And this is one of the most thrilling climbing competitions ever to be held on American soil, possibly the world over, Chris.
Stoked to be here, Lisa. I thought I'd seen it all after climbing as long as I have, but 5 years ago I came to this comp and was blown away.
What blew you away the most, Chris?
Well, it's just a climbing competition with a lot of rock and roll. You know, people flying off the wall, hitting the water, and I don't know, it's just so much excitement.
Well, we're here today for our final round of this event. This has been a 3-day competition. We've seen some wildcard athletes qualify, and now we have our seeding round yesterday, and here are athletes that are going to be competing in the women's event, which will be going first today. Michaela Kirsch, no surprise, came in as our #1 seed yesterday.
She's returning champion.
She is our returning champion. And Barbara Zangerl, possibly a little bit of surprise, coming in as our #2 seed. This is her first time doing this event. We also have some other returning athletes, Alex Puccio, Alex Johnson, Angie Payne.
And here we see the round of 16 bracket. You know, again, we have the first seeds going up against the last seeds and so on down the line. And the fun thing is that when these competitors, as you can see, are going against just one another, they don't have to worry about the rest of the field once they're on the wall, because if they win that round, they advance to the quarterfinals and so on and so forth down to the finals. So really, it's anybody's game.
And now we're going to go to our poolside host, Tim Emmett, who is going to introduce all of our athletes for today's introduction.
Hey, so for those of you that have just arrived, welcome to the 2017 Psicobloc Masters in Park City, Utah. The competition this evening is a knockout comp, so climbers are climbing against each other. Whoever gets highest or who gets to the top first, they go through to the next round. We're going to have the ladies' competition first, then we'll have a little break, and then we're going to have the men's competition afterwards. So can all the ladies please come up by the poolside?
All the single ladies.
We have Michaela Cash. Michaela Cash. Can we have a big round of applause for Michaela?
Have everybody line up.
Heather Widener.
Right here? Where do you want us? Line up there so everybody can see you.
Hi. Bimini Horseman.
Line up across this way. Yeah, there we go. Let everybody see you.
Have we got Bimini? And Alison Best. Let's hear it for these girls. Charlotte Durif. Angie Payne. Delaney Miller. Lily Canavan. Kyra Condie. Alex Johnson. Alex Puccio. Maya Madeira. Torring Perkins. Nina Williams. And the last two competitors, Barbara Zangerl and JC Jacinda Hunter. Let's hear it for the ladies. So we've got some of the best climbers in the world here. Judging by the performance yesterday, it's anyone's game. There's been a lot of excitement, there's been some falls, there's been a lot of people getting to the top. So the girls know what to do. It's a question of can they get to the top as fast as possible, and if they make a mistake and fall off, they're out and it's through to the next round.
Just say, let these guys take a break.
Okay, we're going to take a break there, and then if the two, Michelle and Heather, if you can get ready.
Okay, so we're going to get ready for the first round here of the women's bracket. We've got first seed Michaela Kirsch and 16th seed Heather Widener. This is Heather's first competition.
This is her first competition here on the Seco wall, and she is very excited to try to make it to the top today. Michaela made it to the top twice yesterday. She is going to be really familiar with this wall. She looked incredibly comfortable yesterday, climbed the wall with ease and poise, and did not look all that concerned about jumping from 55 feet into the cold water.
Well, you know, the other thing is I talked to her before the competition, and she was one of the few competitors that said, hey, I thought it was actually a little easier than I expected. But she said that she had built the competition up so big in her head that it actually worked out well for her, because when she got on the wall, her nerves were high, but she just was surprised that, you know, she ended up on the top twice.
She ended up on the top twice, and she looked like she did it with such ease both times. There's no way you can't consider her a favorite as a returning champion.
Yeah, returning champion.
To stand on the podium at the end of this event.
And Heather just told me that, you know, she had a great time up on her seating. She had a great time falling into the water. She was one of the only competitors that really didn't act concerned whatsoever about hitting that water.
Heather has a really great head. Nothing seems to bother her, and she absolutely has the best outfit on at this competition.
Yeah, no doubt about it. There's Michaela Kirsch on the podium, getting ready, all smiles. Again, all these competitors just talk about what kind of fun they have at this competition.
And there's Heather Widener in her best Wonder Woman attire, and we're going to hope that she gets up the wall like Wonder Woman today. Okay, so yesterday we saw Michaela have no trouble with this wall, but now her nerves are going to be a little bit different, Chris, and she is actually, you know, going to have a different strategy from yesterday. Yesterday was a fact-finding mission, learning all the holds. Today is going to be about getting to the top of the wall fast against your competitor.
Because again, during the seed, this was not head-to-head, so this is the first head-to-head competition that these ladies have gotten on. So they got to keep one eye on the person next to them, and obviously keep all the rest of their concentration on the climb.
And you absolutely cannot risk a single foot slip, because a single foot slip down low means you are out of this competition.
And every single one of these competitors told me that the holds are not very secure, so they just really have to concentrate on that. They also told me that the routes are harder than they expected, except for Michaela. But most of them said that, yeah, we have to climb slow, we have to be methodical, but you know, speed is part of the competition, because whoever gets the highest, fastest wins the competition.
And we'd like to welcome the event founder and climber athlete extraordinaire, Chris Sharma, to the booth.
Hey guys, super psyched that we're all here for like our 5th annual event. It's great weather, so yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, the morning started off a little shaky. We had some rain, but then it's like the skies have cleared. It's a nice, actually cool temp, even though the ladies have to climb in the sun. Tell us about this wall. You're going to be competing on it as well. What are these women running into up there as they're climbing up this thing?
Well, I mean, as you were saying, there's the element of speed, but you know, at the same time, we're trying to make this a really authentic event for climbers. You know, and you know, we don't normally try to race each other. You know, you know, climbing is typically you against the wall. So, I mean, ultimately, the idea of this event is to make a great showcase for our sport and for all of the competitors to have a great time and just to be like a celebration for like how much fun climbing is.
Yeah, it certainly brings a lot of elements of like childish fun into it.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's why I love this style of climbing more than any other type of climbing. And I feel like it's great to be in our 5th season with this event, and it's good times.
So we just saw Heather Widener make it higher than she made it yesterday, but she did end up in the pool. We've got Michaela Kirsch. Looks like she is going to go to the top of this women's route. She wants as much experience as she can get on these holds so that in subsequent rounds she can really power through this head wall section when the heats start to get a little closer.
Yeah, so again, she's going to climb to the top for the experience, even though she's won the round already. She's higher. Heather Widener fell down, and she's just going to get a little experience up there and finish it up.
Yeah, one of the things about these routes is those holds are really slopey, and so even though they're big, they're really rounded and kind of slippery. So someone could easily slip off at if they're trying to go too fast. So it could be anybody's day.
Yeah, well, and speaking of sort of speed versus like going slow with any type of climbing, whether you're indoors or outdoors, it's always a strategy about how long do I rest? Am I starting to lose power, or I'm getting power back? So, speed is an element in any type of climbing.
Hey, Chris, let's go back to you for a minute. This is your 5th time as a competitor in this event. What's it going to take for you today to make it to that final round and be our Psicobloc men's champion?
I don't know what it's going to take. Honestly, like for me, it's just great to be here to represent our sport, to be here just, as the founder of this event, to celebrate climbing and share climbing with this amazing community. As part of the organization, also with the outdoor retailer show going on, I'm like running around all day long wearing a bunch of different hats. So my head's kind of all over the place, but and there, on the other hand, there's also some really strong climbers. So I'm just here to have fun, and I want to get to the top of the wall. I'm competing against the route, and if I get to the top, I'll be happy.
Well, we know we can never ever count Chris Sharma out of any competition, especially on the format that you are so comfortable with. Chris, are you more nervous as a competitor or as an event organizer?
So we've got Bimini Horseman on the left.
I'm more nervous as an event organizer because I've competed quite a bit. I'm pretty comfortable, but as running an event is a whole new ball game, and there's so many different factors. We've had years with lots of rain, and that can just be so stressful after so much planning. So it's a relief to have blue skies right now and just see everything coming together nicely. So for me, that's like success right there.
Yeah, it is a beautiful day for this competition. And going back to the wall real quick, Bimini Horseman, Allison Vest, both these climbers were really similar seeds yesterday, so that means their performance yesterday was very, very similar, and so we're going to see a pretty tight head-to-head competition here, and it's looking to work out that way because they're just climbing almost in synchronicity.
Totally neck and neck here.
I'm really impressed with how Bimini climbed in this event yesterday. This was her first time competing in the Psicobloc Masters. She came through in the qualifying round, so this is her 3rd day climbing on this wall. This is going to be a really great matchup. The girls are climbing into what's going to be one of the crux sections for them, and this is where you're really starting to feel it in the forearms, Chris.
Yeah, especially for people that aren't used to being this high up off the water. It is a totally different mentality, and it takes a lot of getting used to. So, it's in a lot of ways out of people's comfort zone, and that definitely plays a role. And it could be a tiebreaker in a lot of cases. So, yeah, you have people that may be technically better, but a little more timid, and that can be the difference from success and failure. So.
And this is looking like it could end up being a tied event, although we do have a little separation coming between our athletes right now.
Going to the top, they got to be getting nervous
Allison
up there.
is edging her out. Allison has one hand up. You need 2 to complete the route. Allison gets both hands on top, and she wins this route.
Very, very close competition.
Chris, these athletes have to get both hands on top in order for this route to be considered topped. And that was a real close one.
And I want to thank Chris Sharma for coming in the booth. That was amazing. This idea, this competition really just sprang forth from Chris's head. 5 years ago, they put together the first one, and again, he just loves this aspect of climbing, this deep water soloing, this Psicobloc, so much that, you know, he just couldn't help but try to share it with all of his friends at first and get everybody in here and then share it with the world. And I know the idea is to bring this to all parts of the globe.
Yeah, Chris could absolutely have just sat back on his climbing laurels and enjoyed his personal climbing, but he really wanted to bring his love for the sport and his love for the Psicobloc to the world.
A little replay of the top out, just a neck and neck race to the top. And here they go from the 55-foot jump into the water.
A lot of encouragement from the crowd. I'll tell you what, Chris, that makes my heart skip a beat every single time.
Well, the one thing that one of the competitors told me, I believe it was Joe Kinder, said that, you know, there may actually be some folks who decide just not to jump off the top in the first rounds and climb down the holds that they have in the middle so they can hang kind of in more control and hopefully hit the water in a controlled way, because Joe said that even if you have a hand out, you know, just a little bit when you hit the water, you can bruise a hand and it can really affect your performance in the next round. So, you know, that was a good show and a courageous jump off the top for both those competitors.
And now we have returning champion Charlotte Derif on the left and 5-time Psicobloc Masters competitor Angie Payne on the right. What can you say about Angie Payne? She's one of America's darlings of climbing.
Yeah, she's been on the competition scene for a long time. You know, some of the things that she was talking to me about is just, you know, getting through the nerves of climbing up this wall. She definitely can be anxious about it, she said. And yesterday she slipped in one of her rounds, but she actually felt that was a breakthrough because it was the first time that she hadn't just kind of let herself go off the wall. She actually slipped and fell, and she was okay. So that was a nice psychological breakthrough for her.
That's a great breakthrough for these athletes that are more afraid of that 55-foot fall from the top of the wall. Charlotte looked extremely good during the seeding round yesterday. She is one of our returning champs, and she just looked solid yesterday. Didn't look like the route was giving her too much trouble. Angie's actually pulling ahead of her just a little bit, but Angie did not make it to the top of this route yesterday, and Charlotte did.
And I'm telling you that Angie looks as confident as I've seen her in the 3 heats I've watched her climb this wall. So that's definitely got to feel good for her up there, just focusing on those holds, executing and not thinking about that water down there.
I agree, Chris. Angie right now looks more relaxed than I think I've ever seen her on the Psicobloc wall. This is the section where the ladies tend to separate out a little bit. It's one of the first really hard sections. They go to a double undercling tongue with both hands holding on under the hold, and then they have to make a powerful move out of it. We have Angie a little bit ahead of Charlotte right now. If this continues, this would be a huge upset. And Angie is on-sighting right now, so she's never seen these holds
Yeah,
before.
she's never held them. She's watched other people climb them.
Charlotte is turning on the gas now. She knows she's got to cook with gas if she wants to beat Angie Payne to the top of this wall, and it looks like she's going to do it.
Come on, Angie.
She really paced herself and then turned it on. Oh. And we have Angie dropping off. But from a high point from yesterday, she's looking good down there in the water.
Yeah, she looks a little surprised. I think probably, you know, again, she hadn't been that high on the wall, so that was a breakthrough for Angie in all these years of competition.
Charlotte's taking off her shoes. She wants to make sure they stay dry for the next round. And then we are going to get the audience giving her the big countdown for this 55-foot drop. The athletes do have the surface tension of the water broken up by bubbles here in this Olympic Training Center, where the ski jumpers launch off these rails and hit the water with skis on. It's going to help a little bit.
So we've got a replay of the finish.
Angie falling to the water. It's hard not to swing those arms, let me tell you. And here goes Charlotte dropping in, taking her time.
Yeah, and the down climb is really so you can get down, make your body go still, and hopefully, as they say, pencil into that water again, saving yourself for another round.
She needs to climb this route 4 times.
We've got our next set of ladies coming out in this round of 16. Delaney Miller, who is a two-time second place competitor. You've got to know Delaney really wants this event to go well this year. She wants to get to the top and win. And Lily Canavan, who is also one of our 4 wild cards who came in during the qualifying round.
1, go!
So let's talk about Delaney's performance up to this point in the competition. She's been second twice, is that right?
She's been second twice in 2013 and 2014. And if she can make it through these early rounds against some of these speedier athletes, she has got, every round that she gets through, she's got a better chance of taking this event.
And it's interesting, she's got a style of climbing that, you know, appears to be a little bit slow, but the fact is that she never stops moving, and the times that she posted yesterday, you know, surprised me as I watched her climb up the wall. And the fact is that her movements appear slow, but she just never stops.
She's moving really well today, Chris, and she was our number 4 seed. So I think that, you know, the critique of Delaney as being a slower climber, we can't really say that this year. The number 4 seed is no slouch in this event.
No, again, she's a machine moving up the wall.
Delaney has taken a small hiatus from competition climbing. She's been very successful as a lead climbing competitor, both as a youth and as an adult. And she's going to be getting back into that this year, and she certainly looks like she is fit and ready for that. Coming from the tongue move to a right hand pinch. These holds look big from the ground, but I can tell you, Chris, that they are nothing like big. They cover a lot of surface, but your hand does not get a lot of purchase.
Lily Canavan is off the wall. Looks like she entered the water okay. It's got her thumbs up coming out of the pool, so that's what we're looking for when they take the plunge.
And the machine, Delaney Miller, is looking like she's going to make her 3rd trip to the top of this wall. No problem for Delaney. Both hands up. And she'll be taking her first 55-foot plunge of the day. In the past, Chris, this has not been Delaney's favorite part of the wall, the jumping off part, but she looked a lot more confident with it yesterday.
And I'll tell you, watching her in the athlete lounge, sort of the backstage here at the competition, and watching her before the competition, she was watching the wall, looking at the wall. I think she just dropped her chalk bag into the pool.
Whoops. Well,
her
she
shoes.
can borrow one of mine.
Oh, there we go.
And
chalk bag's wet. I'm sure they've got a backup for her. Hopefully it wasn't her lucky one.
I'm sure that all these athletes have multiple pairs of shoes and multiple chalk bags, but you know, we all as climbers have our favorite little good luck chalk bags. So she may be upset that she dropped that one, but I'm sure she's got another one on board, and I'm sure there's plenty of chalk back there.
And wisely, again, she climbs down, gets herself still, and pencils into the pool.
Well, we're halfway through this round.
Let's see her come up.
16, Chris, and so far
looking good.
We've only had one upset, if you can call it that. Allison Vest climbing a little faster than Bimini Horseman to the top, but so far our top seeds are all advancing.
It's the 2 big guns, Kyra, Condie, and Alex Johnson.
So a lot of times those splashes when the climbers hit the water will end up throwing some water up on the wall on those first holds, and so we've got these folks coming out to try to dry the holds a little bit just to make both sides equal and fair. As the climbers first start up the wall, they definitely don't want to get their hands wet for the rest of the climb.
Okay, so on the left-hand side,
I'm really excited about this heat, Chris, because 2 of my favorite athletes are in this heat. Kyra Condie, she is a 21-year-old athlete from Minnesota, and she is a firecracker. She climbs like she's been lit on fire. And on the right side, we have 5-time Psicobloc Masters competitor, Alex Johnson. And Alex, longtime competitor, she's got a laundry list of achievements, but she is definitely one of the athletes who is a little intimidated about falling from 55 feet.
And this should be a fun one because we've got 2 different body types here. Alex, pretty tall. Kyra, you know, a little bit smaller, but and also a style of climbing that's just quick, fast, snappy, making the moves. You can watch her head move back and forth, looking at the holds, quickly.
Kyra is one of our 4 female athletes who made it to the top of this wall twice yesterday. She made it to the top in both rounds. She was a little tired at the end of the second round, and she told me that she thinks her bouldering experience is really helping her climb swiftly and accurately on this wall, but she was feeling a little bit of the heat at the end of round 2, as she does not have as much route stamina as some of these athletes. But she is just a firecracker. She moves like greased lightning.
So, you know, talking about how fast she's moving, but I'm watching her look over her shoulder, watching her competitor while she's resting to try to maximize those, but yet still not let Alex catch up. As soon as Alex starts to get close, she starts moving. So maybe she did come up with a little bit of a strategy about getting a little more rest on these climbs.
You know, I had a great chat with Kyra yesterday, and she said exactly that, Chris. She does have some strategy this year. She knew she needed to pace herself after her quick exit last year. She got off to a blazing start, but fell off the wall early when she got super tired, and her competitor was able to pass her and go on to the next round. But today, she's looking like she has a great tempo. She's watching Alex. She's climbing very smoothly, and she's just going to take her time, see what happens with Alex, who's on the tongue double undercling move right now. Alex is actually getting a little higher than she got yesterday. I think Kyra's strategy is to wait and see what her competitor does, and if Alex falls, I think we might see Kyra not go to the top. But maybe now she's tired of waiting.
Looks like Alex is starting to struggle. She's, I think, running out of steam. Yep, and she's out of there.
And Kyra is at the top, so I'm sure she will summit and jump.
Yeah, she just basically ran up to the top. I think she's relieved to get off of that wall, get to the top. Great job for Kyra Condie.
What we got to see with Kyra on that head wall is how she can just turn it on. If she has energy, that girl has 5th gear, and she can just start really just cranking it out to the top. Now Kyra's going to have to jump from the top. She did tell me, Chris.
A little bit of a replay. We were watching Alex struggle a little bit, and that really is the crux of the climb, that overhanging top.
She's going to jump.
And Kyra's about to jump from the 55-foot mark. Last year, this really freaked her out. But this year, she told me she has no fear, and it sure showed there.
Nice. Double thumbs up. She's excited. And, you know, again, these people are here, the competitors are here because this is a fun competition. And, you know, some of them are really excited to overcome some of those fears that they had in the last years, in the last rounds, and break through a few things.
That's definitely true for Kyra. And one of the pieces of advice from our previous competitor, Megan Martin, who's not here today, said she hopes all these gals will have fun and just enjoy falling from wherever they fall.
So we just missed Alex Puccio on the left, and on the right, Maya Madeir. Both very strong looking climbers. Again, we've got similar sizes here, so we may see a really similar climbing style.
Actually, yeah, Maya is very similar to Alex in both her climbing style and in their builds. Alex Puccio is one of the most decorated athletes in the sport of climbing, male or female. We don't have time during her climb on this wall. Ooh, a little foot slip from Alex Puccio there. That's got to get the heart rate up a little bit. She topped this wall twice yesterday, and she's got every ability to top it again twice today, 4 times today, to win this competition.
So we've got a little information coming in. Delaney Miller has the fastest time to the top at 1:48. And Allison Vest didn't make it to the top yesterday, but she got to hold 26 in 1:30, and today she topped it out in 1:51.
It's great to see every round these athletes are improving. As long as they can keep the stamina going throughout this whole event, we should see the times getting faster with each round. Alex is looking a little jittery today, but she's so strong. And this section right here is just Alex Puccio land. Big compression moves, a lot of sideways climbing. This is right up Alex's alley. She's shaking up now.
So,
Alex Puccio.
yeah, Alex also was one of the people who used the word playful when she talked about this route. She was really excited and had a really good time climbing on it, and that's a great word to describe it. Totally not scared. She's just cranking it out to the top. She did also talk about trying to go a little bit faster, and I think she just did. We'll find out.
I think she did. She really turned it on in that head wall section, Chris, and she looked calm and confident.
So now, you know, Maya's going for style points, for street cred. She's going to climb as high as she can, get some experience.
Yeah, there's no necessarily any advantage for Maya to go to the top of this route, but she wants to go to the top of this route. She wants to finish this climb. This is her last chance to climb on this wall during this competition, and go Maya.
And you really have to admire it, actually. Going higher, getting a little more nervous, working that hold, but she wants to finish that route to show that she can, that she's a competitor, and she'll be back.
Fun thing about Maya, Chris, is that her spirit animal is the mantis shrimp, and I wonder if she'd be finding any on the bottom of the pool right now. Alex Puccio just set the new standard for the ladies in this event.
Alex Puccio, 126 to the top of the wall.
And they will be keeping track of these times, Chris, in case for any reason the event has to come to a halt, which is not likely. We have great weather this year. It's unbelievable out. But if there was a weather event or some freak event, ties would be broken based on their times on this wall.
So confident getting over the top of that wall, and one of the male competitors, Carlo Traversi, told me that what you can't really see when you top out on this wall is actually it's a little bit angled. It's not a perfectly flat top, and he compared it to kind of a little bit of a sketchy mantle on top of a boulder, only instead of being, you know, 10, 15 feet off the ground, you're 55 feet off this pool when you mantle on top of that sloped top.
That sounded like a little bit of a hard hit, but we've got 2 thumbs up from Alex Puccio. Our next matchup, Tori Perkins and Nina Williams. This is going to be another one of our close heats, Chris. So we can't really count on Tori advancing just because she has the higher seed time. Nina Williams easily could pass her. It's anybody's game at this point. Tori climbed on the wall. Now she's climbing off. The holds might be wet.
So we got Tori Perkins.
So we're going to see if the hold dryers are going to come out and bring their towels, and when the athletes hit the water, the splash can hit those bottom holds, and we don't want any of these athletes having a foot slip right at the bottom.
Nice. Nina just threw her thumbs up through the wall. You know, these competitors get along great. They're all friends. They all want to encourage each other. And that was a nice smile from Nina through the wall to her competitor.
So much camaraderie in both this event and in this sport, Chris. These athletes.
So one thing about Nina, you know, we talk about being nervous on this wall and controlling your fear a little bit as you get higher and higher above the water. Well, Nina's had an incredible season as a high ball boulderer, and so she is pretty well trained in what it's like to just control yourself, control your fear, make sure and execute, and not think about the fall.
Yeah, I don't think Nina's going to be concerned about the fall, but what she is going to be concerned about is that she did not make it to the top of this wall yesterday. And Tori made it quite high yesterday on this wall. So she's got a lot more knowledge about the upper head wall of this route. She's going to be more relaxed, even though she's slightly behind Nina right now. She does
catching
have
up.
The advantage of knowledge. She is making good progress here. Look at those holds. The athletes can just put their hands on them. They can't really grab their hands around them like you would the rung of a ladder. They're just bracing themselves using legs and arms.
And they're both kind of in the crux of this climb, which comes on the steepest part of the wall. And I'll tell you, the angle of the camera right now isn't necessarily telling you. There it is. Yeah, how steep that is. And when your back is straight to the water, when your back is straight above the water, we've all fallen off of boulders and hit the mat completely flat. That can be a little nerve-wracking until you get around the lip of this thing and go more to a vertical stance.
This is turning into a really good showdown. We've got Nina and Tori very close together. It's still anybody's game.
Yeah, for sure.
Tori has a little bit more experience with this kind of format, but she's starting to look a little bit gassed. She wants to rest, but she also does not want Nina to get the confidence of getting ahead.
Nina's working that hold. Those slopey holds, they're so hard to figure out how to hold on to.
And she's
Man,
in
she is
new
pumped.
terrain. She's pumped.
Come on. Oh, Nina's out of there.
She's out of there, but Tori still has to go one more
She has to make a couple more moves to win the round.
This
If you can
her
hold that
round.
orange hold,
Yep.
you go through to the next
Looking
round.
like
There it is.
Tori
She just took the round.
is going to also take this route all the way to the top.
Yeah, I need to see
That was
this.
a great round. We expected a close matchup, and we got one. Super proud of Nina Williams for that effort.
Absolutely. Super proud of Nina, but I think that it just it just looked like Tori was, I felt like she was a little bit more measured in her movement, and didn't let the fact that Nina was a little bit ahead get into her mind, and just executed and finishes the route.
That easily could have gotten into Tori's head. She's one of our youngest competitors, so this is new to her. She's climbing against some of her idols, most likely. That was a great showing by both athletes, and Tori Perkins will take this round.
And I haven't seen her in a minute during this competition where she wasn't all smiles. And she was all smiles when she got to the top.
Let's hope she stays all smiles when she comes out of the water as we head into our final matchup with a round of 16 with number 2 seed Barbara Zangerl and number 15 seed and 5-time competitor JC Hunter. Chris, Barbara had a really
Nice pencil entry there.
rough ball, not a pencil entry yesterday.
On her first round yesterday, Barbara Zangerl topped the wall out, leapt off, and just went into the water a little bit at an angle from that entire fall. And, in 2009, she had a disc injury to her back that has nagged her for a couple years after that, and pretty much is always lurking there in her back. And she feels today a lot of pain in her neck and her back, and she's a little bit worried, about re-aggravating that thing and setting her climbing behind.
And Chris, we do know she has a medical exemption to not jump off the top of this wall if she tops the route. We'll see Barbara climb down the back. It's actually a little bit more sketchy climbing down the back of the wall, but she can't risk hitting the water. JC is one of our favorite competitors at this event. She's hilarious. She is a mother of 4, which I don't think any of these athletes, male or female, can claim. She works full time. She's a Utah resident, and we just love seeing JC at this event. She's got great route fitness, and if she can hang on, she is a contender to get to the top of this route.
And she's one of the best morale boosters in the athletes lounge, like a mother ought to be, because some of these kids are probably not that much older than her kids.
Some of those kids might not be that much older than her kids.
Yeah, it would be amazing for Babsy Zangerl to come in on her first Psicobloc and win it. And I'll tell you, Babsy Zangerl is an outdoor climber. She is a boulderer who's one of the first women, I believe, to climb V12 back in 2008 or 2009. And since then, she's also been free climbing big walls. So that's a breadth of experience that none of these competitors, male or female, have.
3, 2,
Definitely a unique competitor in this event. She's got to be thinking a little bit about conserving energy and not hitting the water. If she sees her competitor go off low, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Babsy elect to drop off to try to save her back for future rounds. But you know what, Chris? She's a competitor, and it's really hard to just stop when you're in the moment.
Well, here's the thing, too, is this woman has a mind of steel, okay? She climbs scary routes. She just came back from a trip to Wales, climbing on some of the notoriously most scary climbing in the world in Wales. And I think that, whatever we're thinking about her mind and whether she's worried about falling off this route, I don't know. I think she can just shut it off.
I'll tell you what, Chris, if she has any jitters from yesterday's fall, she's not showing it right now. She looks very relaxed. Her arms are straight. Her body language is showing confidence. And JC on the right wall is also looking super smooth. She's not known as a speed demon, but JC can hold on forever. And she's looking really strong right now and really relaxed. JC came into this event in the 15th slot, and we have Barbara in the 2nd slot. I think if I'm Barbara, I'm not worrying too much about going super fast right now. I'm just thinking about executing this route in good style. Her time won't matter. She is going to compete against Tori Perkins in the next round. We already know this if she makes it to the top.
Come on, let's hear it for JC. Come on.
Okay, Barbara's taking it easy. She knows she's weighing the lead, measuring that hold, making sure she hits it, stays on it.
But she still has JC coming up behind her. JC is resting, really working these
Babsy
breaths.
just looked down to check out where JC was to make sure she has time to take this move seriously to get to the top.
Yeah, she's good.
At this point, since JC's out of there, it doesn't matter to Barbara Zangerl how fast she went up this wall. She's just happy to be on top and moving on to the next round.
JC took a pretty nasty fall.
She looks a little concerned. That looks like a look of pain to me, Chris.
Yeah, I'm not sure what she's going to do. We'll wait and see whether she's going to down climb and drop, jump off the top.
I honestly hope she elects to walk down the back, because I'd hate to see her
She just
injure
cricked her
herself.
neck, telling us that there's still some pain in there.
She threw the chalk bag, though. She's considering it. I am holding my breath waiting for this decision.
She looks concerned, but you know what?
Don't
I
do
tell
it,
you,
Babsy.
tough as nails doesn't even come close to describing.
Yeah,
Oh, there she goes. She looks like she's
tough
going
as
to down
nails,
climb.
She's still only human.
Right.
I would hate to see her not be able to compete in subsequent rounds if she hits the water in a bad way. We're all holding our breath. It's so quiet in here.
Okay, replay. Jacinda trying to get into that great big undercling. You got to get both hands up in there, and yep. Once her foot came off and she started to rotate, she was out of there.
She was out of there. But we had a good landing in the water from Barbara Zangerl.
Confidently topping out on that thing.
Probably made her feel better hitting the water just once to get it out of the way. And Chris, that wraps up our first round of 16, and pretty much all the top seeds went through to the quarterfinal round.
Okay, so they've got the quarterfinals up, moving closer and closer to victory. Not a lot of surprises in this thing. We had a small upset where there was, I believe, an 8th seed against a 9th seed, so not really anything unexpected so far, but again, anything can happen in this as this next quarterfinal starts up and we get closer and closer to the end. Also, you know, the competitors get a little bit more tired.
Yeah, and I'm looking at this bracket that we're going to see in the next round, Chris, and the athletes are going to match up really well style-wise, so I think we're going to see a lot of really close matches in that quarterfinal round. Particularly, I think Kyra Condie and Alex Puccio, that's going to be an exciting matchup. Both those athletes can climb fast when they want to. They're going to be neck and neck, I think, the whole way up that wall.
So basically, though, you know, this is a red point competition. Most of the climbers have climbed most of the wall. Not everybody's topped out at this point. But, you know, now it becomes whether they've learned the route and whether they can execute the knowledge that they've gained when they're up there. So they've got to hit each hold where they want it, not readjust over and over, make sure they've got the tension that they need, and keep an eye on that competitor that's next to them, because I think these rounds are going to start to get closer and closer, and climbing wisely, but, you know, not just dawdling up the wall is going to be more and more important.
No, and you're definitely not going to see as much gamesmanship of looking under your arm at what your competitor's doing. They won't be able to rest as long because they're going to be pushing each other up this wall. I anticipate really fast heats in this next round. Alex Puccio with the fastest time of the last round, Chris?
At 1:26.
You know that you need to get the right nutrients to be able to climb.
Yeah, I think that means that Alex Puccio is probably the one to beat, because again, that time in and of itself really doesn't mean anything to these next rounds, but what it shows is that she's up there executing, climbing quickly, climbing confidently, and, you know, that's going to be the thing to beat up there with Alex Puccio.
Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, if there's any athlete who can push Alex Puccio, it's going to be Kyra Condie, because she can climb fast. We've got Alex Puccio here. She's climbing through the upper section of the wall, looking very calm, very in control. You can tell that these moves are not really causing her any fuss. And even though she's known primarily as a boulder, Alex Puccio has done quite well in route climbing competitions. She's getting ready for the next round. She looks calm. She looks relaxed. Some of these gals look a little bit cold. I can only imagine how cold they are back there. No sun. A little heating pit over there that we'll see the athletes hovering around, and they'll be in the hot tub trying to stay warm.
Looked like Alex was taping up her wrist. Yep, she's taping up her wrist. I don't know if that has something to do with something she did before the competition or if something she felt on the wall. But yep, she looks like she's feeling a little pain in there and trying to straighten it out for this next round.
Well, Chris, the routes that we have today are what we climbers call compression routes. You're reaching side to side a lot as opposed to straight up and down as if you were climbing a ladder. And that can put a lot of torque on your wrists. And I wouldn't be surprised if her third time up this wall, she got a little strain in her wrist.
Another difference between the round of 16 and the quarterfinals is that the sun aspect is changing. You know, they had to climb the wall in full sun on the first round, which means it was probably a little bit warm. Normally when climbers climb their hardest routes, they try to do it in the shade, not to get heated up, not to get those holds slick. But now we've got a half and half. And the interesting thing is if you've seen holds in the sun, once they go into the shade, the aspect of them changes quite a bit. And so the climbing is going to feel a little bit different. And I don't know, it may throw some of these competitors off, but I don't know. These women have such a strong mental game that, I don't know, I really feel like most of them will just climb through it and not even notice. Punters like me, we notice those sorts of things.
I think visually, when you're climbing on this bright white wall with the sun shining on it, it's really hard to look up and sight the next holds and find that exact perfect spot you want to grab. So that will definitely help them. And as they're inevitably getting more fatigued as these rounds go on, they are going to want to have perfect accuracy. They don't want to have to adjust on any hold. They don't want to lose time adjusting on holds. They want to grab it and go.
And these close. Yeah, so we just saw a shot of them drying the tips of their shoes off. They really need to get the rubber that's going to be contacting with the holds as dry as they possibly can. You know, a little bit of water creates a film in there that's going to just cause these slips, because as you're looking at the wall and you're looking at these holds, most of them are down facing and the tops of them are super smooth. So as you watch these climbers climb these routes and put their feet on the holds, you can see they're really just smearing them on the very tops of the holds. And that was a design idea from the course setters.
Yeah, the course setters did not want these athletes to ever feel like they were totally comfortable and could just camp out and rest. It's really hard to take off one hand and do anything with it without moving up this wall, because the feet are slippery and you need all 4 points on.
And Alex is back in the athlete lounge doing the rehearsal. She's doing the visualization, trying to remember her beta. You know, she's only been able to climb on this route 3 times, and so I'm sure she doesn't have it completely dialed, but that's what she's doing with her mind, getting warmed up.
It was interesting, Chris, before the event, we saw a lot of the athletes with their smartphones out. They had made maps of these routes, and they recorded their beta, which is basically climber speak for the progression of moves they're going to do on the wall. And they were all sitting there doing the moves, solidifying them in their head, running through the route, figuring out how they're going to maximize efficiency.
Okay, a little bit of break for the climbers. We've had a little bit of break back there where they could collect themselves. Again, Alex doing her visualization, and we're going to get started here in just a few minutes. There's a shot of the crowd.
And one of the reasons we have that break after the round of 16, Chris, is so that the athletes in the final heats can get an equivalent amount of rest that the athletes who are in the early heats got, because we don't want to see anyone go out early just because they had a really short turnaround time in between routes.
Yeah, so it's a little bit of like CrossFit. So like I pre-focus and I tip it. Yeah.
One of these climbers is going to win $5,000. I think it's the...
So these athletes don't have a lot of recovery time in general in between the rounds, but when things start to go really fast, that's going to become more and more of a factor. If you are climbing in the final heat of this round of 8, this quarterfinal round, you're not going to have very much time before the semifinal round. So fitness and all-day stamina is going to be a factor, and that's where I give an athlete like Barbara Zangerl, if she makes it through this round, she's going to be one of those athletes who her general climbing experience is going to benefit her in these subsequent rounds.
Yeah, certainly. Spending days and days on a big wall, climbing hard day after day is, you know, a way to get fitness.
She is no stranger to quick turnaround times on hard routes. We've got Michaela Kirsch, our returning champion, coming out on the left side of the wall. She's getting her shoes on now. Michaela from Chicago, Illinois, is a full-time student. She's in her senior year at DePaul. And on the right, we have Allison Best, who is one of our foreign competitors. She's from Canmore, Alberta, and she is currently ranked number 2 for Canadian women for bouldering.
Both of them getting ready, getting their gear together. And Michaela Kirsch, you know, again, she just sent this route last round handily. Didn't seem to give her too much trouble. Once again, she told me it was not as hard as she had thought it would be. So once again, we're going to have the head-to-head competition now, though. So it's a whole different ball game as these climbers become closer and closer in ability, and we're going to see some head-to-head races here.
And it's funny, too, because she didn't think the route was that hard, but I sure thought that route was hard. I'll tell you what, for us advanced recreational climbers, that route is hard. Allison today is hoping for minimal tears and maximum airtime on this route. She wants to get to the top.
Canada's top competition climbers.
So what a lot of people don't know is that climbing is going to be a demonstration sport in the 2020 Olympics, exhibition sport. And, you know, what's happened with the format for the 2020 Olympics is it's going to be an all-around format requiring you to be fast speed climbing. It's going to require hard route climbing. So this actually is pretty good training for that, because it does mix a little bit of that strategy of how to save time, but also need stamina to get up these routes. And these women are climbing neck and neck, almost completely synchronized.
They are almost completely synchronized. Michaela's confidence on this wall has got to give her a little bit of an advantage. She is moving so quickly. She's no stranger to 514 climbing, and she's even done a couple 514s in a day before. And they're matched on the stalactites now, Chris. Michaela's creeping ahead a little.
Moving into the crux, creeping ahead a little, but one little screw up and you're out of there, or it slows you down enough for the next competitor to catch up.
It's a fine line between going too fast and going too slow as we approach this final
Exciting.
head wall. So exciting.
Michaela's pulling ahead. I think, again, just executing slightly more quickly, slightly more confidently.
But Allison is right on her heels, Chris, and if she makes one slip, Allison could make up that difference. Michaela really surging ahead right now. She is going to get 2 hands on top of this wall.
And finish up.
Did you see her get that final hold? She didn't want to make any mistakes.
No, she cranked right up on it. So now Allison is doing this one for pride, and she's out of there.
She's doing it for all of Canada. That was a great round by Allison. I think she really pushed Michaela at the bottom of this route.
Yeah, Michaela is definitely on top of the list of people that could take this thing. She's confident, she's strong, smart in how she's climbing, not rushing, but every move's executed perfectly, never stops, never wastes any time.
Here they are when they are climbing neck and neck, almost like synchronized swimmers, Chris.
But again, right there, Allison's foot came off. You know, she had to check a little bit of a swing and lost just a half a second and probably a little bit of power on that.
It had to be intimidating for Allison in her first time in a Psicobloc Masters competition, going head-to-head against the returning champion.
Exactly.
Can you imagine the pressure?
Well, and that's just the way the seeding works out, and that's why it's so important to have a good round on seeding night.
So while the holes at the bottom are being dried up, you'll notice...
Even if you have the best night on seeding night, if you're Allison
Here's
Best,
Allison contemplating the next move, finally just letting go.
just barely missing those bubbles.
Year-round fun and exercise.
Michaela looks like she's really happy with that round. Big smile on her face, coming out of the pool. Obviously didn't hurt herself on the jump.
I think I see a sense of relief actually on her face. I think that round actually pushed her more than she was expecting.
Probably.
Taking a little break to dry off the holds as we bring out another returning champion, Charlotte Derief from France. And we have Angie Payne, and we have, I'm sorry, not Angie Payne, we have Delaney Miller, who is a 2-time silver medalist coming out on the right. This should be another great matchup. These gals both have a very similar style. They climb smooth, controlled, measured. It looks effortless when you watch these two climb.
Yeah. So coming in from the booth here is Michaela has the fastest time on the wall in all rounds, but at 1:09. So we're talking about
surpassed Alex Puccio.
Alex Puccio, so the fastest round tonight, 1:09, and both those times, both those women were moving up the wall faster than anybody from the round of 16. So yeah, so we've got this this time factor simply because most of these women this time around are getting close to or topping out this wall. So the time is becoming one of the biggest factors, how quickly they can move up the wall, but not so fast as that they blow a move and come swinging off of there.
Yeah, we knew these rounds were just going to start to get faster and faster as the athletes get more and more familiar with the wall. This is their 4th time up this wall. Charlotte is looking calm and in control, but Delaney is making great. She just made about a body length advance. And we do have Delaney on the double undercling, moving to that big pinch move.
I tell you, both of these competitors were the most serious I saw hanging around earlier today, looking at the wall, and we're coming to a photo finish here. Oh, Delaney's a little bit behind.
Yeah,
looks like Charlotte's going to take it.
Great speed on that head wall. We've seen the women who can really turn on the gas, do super well on the head wall, and distance themselves from their competitors. But that was a great round by Delaney, our number 4 seed coming into this event. What a great round that was.
A little show of emotion there from Charlotte Derief on top.
Well, I think Delaney really pushed Charlotte more than probably Charlotte was expecting, because Delaney is a lot faster this year. This is great. This is what climbing's all about, the camaraderie, a hug at the top. They're going to sit down,
and
take their shoes off.
I think a little commiseration about staring down at the pool from the top and those ladies as they hug.
A lot of commiseration.
Yeah, I think that, you know, Delaney is definitely one of the people coming to this competition, you know, has taken a couple second-place rounds in years past. I'm sure she's a little disappointed in not topping out before Charlotte. But, you know, once you get on top, I imagine you're happy to be up there. You did your best. You made a great round. You had a good competitor, and you got to admire each other when you're both standing on top of that amazing wall.
Absolutely, Chris. These gals have a lot of love and respect for each other. They know how hard it is. They share in the joy and the pain of topping this wall. Some of the pain is literal pain. And now we've got one of our most exciting matchups coming up right now, Chris. You know I've been waiting for this one.
Delaney,
Kyra Condie,
good fall into the water,
and Alex Puccio lining up. This should be I think this heat could beat Michaela's time. We could see these two, either one of these two, getting up this wall in a minute.
Yeah, because like you said earlier, Kyra is a speed demon. We've got Alex Puccio that came out of the first round of 16 with the fastest time. So this should be a lightning round, and again, it's still about composure, about keeping your beta in your head, grabbing the hold the right way you want them, because if a foot slips and you start to swing, it's really hard in that steepest part of the section to check a swing, and even if you manage to stay on, you lose time, you lose energy, and it may let your competitor to get that edge on you.
And if you're Kyra Condie, Chris, there is no way you're not looking to your right and thinking, Alex Puccio has a list of accomplishments that is easily as tall as the Psicobloc Masters wall. I mean, 10-time national champion for bouldering. She's had, I think, 13 World Cup medals, 1 gold, a couple silvers, 8 bronzes. Second fastest time on the wall today. And Kyra, who's just a firecracker, getting on this wall. I think she's going to really push Alex.
Yeah, I think so. That's probably what they're both thinking, is just, this is probably, in their minds too, one of the matchups of the night.
Alex Puccio is chalked up to her elbows as if she's going to go climb trench warfare.
And again, we saw her earlier in the athlete lounge putting a little tape on her wrists, feeling some sort of pain in there. Maybe from those big wraparound jugs where you throw your whole hand and even a little bit of your arm on there. She's thinking about that with that chalk as well.
My heart is beating a little faster just watching these two climb onto this wall, Chris. Kyra's got chalk on her legs, so she won't need to reach into her chalk bag. That's how fast she plans on going.
Yeah, and here they go.
And Kyra is off to a fast start. We have seen that come back to bite her in the butt.
Yeah, going dynamic. Alex is trying to catch up by throwing herself, going a little bit of dynamic movement where they hadn't been doing that before.
And if you're Alex Puccio, you cannot be thinking about Kyra Condie right now, because you know how fast she can climb.
Come on, this is an incredible matchup.
Head-to-head battle. Alex is really turning it on, but man,
she's taking chances. You know, she's cutting loose a little bit. She's throwing self-dynamically, and that's a chancy way to climb, a low percentage way to climb. But she's seeing that she's got to do it to get past this young competitor.
Barely ahead as she comes onto this head wall. This is where Kyra can really. Oh, Alex is just an inch ahead. This is going to be exciting, Chris. Kyra's adjusting. That's not great. Come on.
This is an awesome round, Alex Puccio.
It's going to come down to the.
Oh, we need a replay on that. We got it. I don't even know what happened.
They're definitely going to replay that, but I can tell you, Kyra had two hands on top before Alex. Alex turned around with one hand off the wall.
That was an incredible round. Okay, we're getting a replay here. Let's watch.
But Kyra had
two
both
hands
on top, and that, if I understand the rules correctly, it's two hands on top, Chris.
The two fastest times of the night.
But I don't think Alex knew that, because it seemed like she threw a hand up there and waited.
She knows she has to have two hands on top, but she might be used to World Cup bouldering, where you often wave to the crowd before you get that second hand up. It's Kyra Condie.
It's got to be Kyra. Second hand up is the rule we're getting from the box. That
I'm saying nothing.
We don't have an official call on that, but that's our understanding of the rules, is two hands.
Chris.
You're going to call it,
I'm
Lisa.
going to call it. That round went to Kyra Condie, unless there's some kind of technical. But yeah, and the athletes have got to be nervous sitting up there waiting. Regardless, that was
we're still waiting on the official call of who won that round.
I think that's the most exciting finish I've ever seen at the Psicobloc Masters.
It was the first hand hits. I mean, it's exact.
But Kyra got that second hand up because she is very experienced with this Psico comp wall.
I'm looking at Alex's finish there, and I feel like
you need to watch that at 240 frames per second.
We got that. The judges are huddling right now. They're going to look at this replay a few times before they call it. But like I said, Chris, I'm calling it for Kyra Condie.
Yeah, the judges are in the huddle.
You're here tonight to watch it, so good for you.
We've never seen a finish this close
here's
in
a good
any
replay
round
from the distance
of the Psicobloc Masters.
Bap! I mean, it's so
look at Alex
together.
Watching Kyra.
Right.
It does not get any closer than that.
You know, and Alex was trying to get her foot on.
Yeah.
Yep. Because right as she hit, her foot was off of that hold, and I think Alex had to reset her foot for a second before moving that left hand, and that gave Kyra the advantage. And I too, the judges are going to make the call, but I definitely think that Kyra has to have taken that round.
Thanks to technology, we get to really slow these finishes down and see that, and it's a good thing we have that technology.
Yeah, thumbs up from Alex. Again, we're still waiting on the official call for that one.
And like I said, Chris, this is absolutely the closest finish I have ever seen at a Psicobloc Masters in any heat. Even Nathaniel and Jan Hoyer's legendary final last year did not come that close.
Another replay. Kyra's off the wall.
Alex is watching her.
It's impossible to tell whose first hand got there, but again, the second hand, I think, is the one that matters.
As I understand the rules, Chris, Kyra's getting towed out of the pool. She has got to be exhausted.
I mean, that was a cardio. We don't talk a lot about cardio in rock climbing. frankly, I've never thought of it as too much of a cardio activity, but those women had to be breathing super hard and starting to lose a little power from that up there.
Chris, my heart is in my throat. I cannot imagine how those two athletes feel right now. Chris, if they do determine that this is a tie, I believe they will go back to the fastest time the women have run on this wall. And as I see it, that would give it to Alex Puccio.
Yeah. Super slow-mo replay. Let's, again, just, it's even without, okay.
That is as dead of a heat as a dead heat goes.
I mean, it's incredible. Like, even with the replays over and over again, I really think that.
Oh,
man.
That looks like Kyra was on top first.
That is incredible. This is what we want at these competitions. I mean, I'm just laughing watching that replay because it's nearly impossible to tell. So hopefully there's not too many judges in the pot because, man, I tell you, it's going to be a hard call.
If you're Kyra Condie right now, your heart has just got to be beating out of your chest. You might be advancing to the semifinal round of this event. That was a lightning fast round. Alex has got game face on. She's smiling. She has a great time at this event. I'm sitting here with Alex Johnson, has just joined us in the booth. And she's finishing a little bit of pizza.
We got to get in nice and
snug. And Alex, what did you think about that heat?
That was sick. That's why people come to this event, is to see this head-to-head, neck and neck, so close. Like, they had to slow it down and replay it 4 times to see who won. And this is why people are here.
Alex, have you ever, in your experience as a 5-time returning competitor, seen anything like how close this event was?
Maybe not this close, but really often with these events, especially with the boys, we need to slow it down. And this is what this event is about. Like, they make the routes identical, left side, right side, and they go head-to-head, and this is what makes it exciting.
And that was as exciting as it could possibly get. I gotta say, from our training in track and field, that look to the left that Alex Puccio did at the top of the wall could be the difference between her winning that heat and her not winning that heat. Because as we know, eyes on the prize at all times.
When it comes to either leaning across the finish line or looking to see if you're winning across the finish line, you gotta lean.
Okay,
so here's what's going on, and this is super unusual.
It's a tie.
Because they've given it a tie because I guess the second hand did not matter, and they can't decide. They can't figure it out, and so what they're going to do is they're going to get another heat.
They can have some time to try and rest.
Okay, we're going poolside with Rick Emmett Tim Emmett for a explanation.
This sort of elevation that quickly takes a lot out of you. But we're going to have the next 2 competitors, and then we'll have a rerun. I think they're going to swap sides.
Okay, so they're going to swap sides just in case that affects something, and they're going to redo the heat. Are they going to redo it immediately?
I hope not, Chris. That would
Are they going to give them a chance to rest
for those girls?
Yeah, this whole thing is like
Okay, so they're not doing it immediately. They've been given a chance to rest, but we're going to have these competitors back on the wall together, and frankly, we're likely to get almost the same finish if I, know any better.
This is a huge, in my opinion, this is a huge advantage for Alex Puccio to have another runoff because she's going to have, I think, more all-day fitness than Kyra Condie might have. They are both boulderers at heart. But Alex Puccio, I think, has a little bit more endurance.
Tori and Barbara.
We're going to our final heat of this quarterfinal round, Chris. Tori Perkins, who is lightning fast for her first time on this wall, and your favorite, Barbara Zangerl.
Yep, that's totally true. But I'm telling you, Tori Perkins is winning me over because every time they put the camera on that girl, she looks like she's having a great time. Getting ready, peeking through the wall, but still, just a great look on her face like she's having the time of her life on this competition.
You can take your positions on the wall.
Okay, so the athletes are getting on the wall. These two are also very well matched as competitors. What did you think watching these gals in the earlier rounds, Alex?
Barbara Zangerl and Tori Perkins.
Yeah, these guys are going to be another one that's neck and neck. They've both topped the wall so many times that they have it dialed, and that's a huge advantage compared to someone who has never topped the wall. So this one's going to be really close as well.
Have you competed with Tori Perkins at all in any of your competition experience?
I don't think so. This was the first time.
Well, she's definitely crushing, and she's surprising me with her poise and
we've
composure.
got some experience against. She's got some experience against Tori Perkins. You know, that's going to be a big difference for this climb. And she's well ahead right now, moving into the crux climbing. Even though she's ahead, she has to take it easy, make sure that everything is just right as she moves up this wall. Because if she falls, it's over when Tori Perkins passes her high point.
And that could easily happen on this wall. Your feet can slip at any second. It's a very tenuous route. These athletes are starting to get tired. It's going to be really hard to engage the core. But Barbara's not looking like she's having too much trouble right now. And Tori's still hanging in there, though, because she knows this route is not over until it's over. Okay, we've got Barbara Zangerl. She's making her 4th trip to the top of this wall. No problem for Barbara in this round, but we've got Tori Perkins. She wants to go to the top of this wall. I think Tori hasn't made it over the top of this wall yet, to my knowledge. What do you remember about yesterday?
I don't know that she did yesterday. I think she did in another round earlier.
She's going to definitely
the thing about this
top
route
out the wall this
after
time.
being on it is it's really burly. It's really bicep-y. There's a lot of underclings and a lot of it's not a route climber's route. It's a powerful route, and I feel like maybe that's what's slowing the route climbers down a little bit. Is you have to really pop for moves and really use your biceps and like kind of fight on those underclings.
Yeah, that was. All in all, that was a very exciting quarterfinal round. I'm still out of breath from that rundown with Kyra, Condie, and Alex Puccio. We're going to get to see those ladies compete again. That's going to be tough that they have to do another runoff, and then possibly one of them is going to climb in the final round.
Yeah, because this is, I mean, it just means they're going to have one extra heat, a little bit more tired. So, again, and Alex Puccio, you know, has this experience to go through these competitions, to make it to the end, and, you know, but we've got the power of youth, you know, that, so it's a really classic matchup. I'm just so excited to see it again, and again, I think we're just going to have a really similar finish.
And I can tell you, Chris, that Kyra Condie wants to win this competition. My conversation with her, there is no doubt. She came back after last year. She is here to win. We have never seen anything like this happen in the Psicobloc Masters competition before. There has never been a runoff. There's never been a heat that close. I guess I'm eating my words. I thought I understood that Kyra got her hand up first and both hands were on top, but the judges are calling it a tie. And Alex, is this the first tie you've ever seen in this event?
Yes.
Is it even the most remotely close thing you've seen to a tie in this event?
Yeah, I mean, last year the guys were getting really, really close. It was neck and neck, and I don't think they've ever ruled anything a tie before. So this, I'm surprised after seeing it slowed down. I'm surprised they're ruling it a tie. I don't know what, but they're making them climb again, which sucks. Especially if one of them ends up in finals, then they'll have another route under their belt.
Okay, another replay of that finish.
Yeah, here we are at the photo finish again. Both athletes looking at each other. It's really hard to call. We've got a great angle here, and the angle that I'm seeing looks like Kyra edged out Alex Puccio by a fraction of a breath.
It's still so hard to tell, right, when they snap at the end.
Well,
I mean,
Chris, the only frame that when they did the slow motion replay where they really slowed it down and then backed it up and then went forward again, it looked like we might be getting that here. It looked to me like Kyra had just the slightest quicker hit of the top. Couldn't see there, but maybe they'll back it down for us again and go really slow-mo to the top.
well, either way, we've got a couple minutes that are going to give these women a bit of a rest and get them back up on that wall, so we may get to see another exciting finish. Okay, it looks like they're getting ready.
There cannot be enough rest to do this. We could see either athlete not make it to the top this time, not even make it to the head wall. They have got to be exhausted. Here's a slow motion replay. I hope they really slow it down for us here so we can see that. Okay, we got it nice and slow. We're gonna.
This is how slow we need it to see who touched the top first. It's impossible to tell at any other speed.
I think it's almost impossible to tell here.
Come on.
Here we go.
It does look like Kyra when it's like frame by frame, and it looks like Kyra gets a palm on it, and you see Puccio's fingers going right over the top.
But we're going to go. The judges
I would agree with you, Alex,
it.
but the judges made the call, just like any other sport. Once the refs say, we're off and running.
And Alex Puccio getting her game face back on backstage, sitting next to Michaela Kirsch. You got to think, if you're Michaela Kirsch, you're thinking it's going to make your next round, if you make it through to the finals and you're competing against either of these two athletes, it's going to make your job a little bit easier because you're getting a lot more rest. And one less round that Michaela Kirsch will be climbing.
Yeah, but isn't this the game? I mean, we demand composure from these athletes to finish this thing all the way to the top of that wall. Every time that nerves creeping up on you as you get higher, wondering about hitting that water. I mean, this game is composure, and you know these women are going to have to show that they're the best, even in those later rounds.
And I am super impressed with young Kyra Condie's composure. She's only 21 years old.
I was going to say, how old is Kyra Condie? I mean,
I think she finally turned 20.
She finally turned 21?
Yeah, it took 21 years, yeah. Wait, have you been watching her grow up?
Actually, yeah, Kyra and I grew up at the same gym, and I used to coach her way back when, so it's exciting that she's finally 21, yeah.
And
that's excellent.
She's only 21, but she has a huge breadth of competition experience behind her. I'm sure she's seen some crazy scenarios for her. She's possibly been in tiebreakers before. She's dealt with delays. She's dealt with fast turnarounds. So she is no stranger to composure, but it's got to be eating away at her.
Exactly. Hey, Alex, so can you talk a little bit about, you know, how focused you are when you're up there? Does the water back there behind you creep into your head, or are you able just to laser focus on those holds up there?
So when you're up there, the first like 30 feet, you're just moving, you're flowing, you're in the zone. And then you do start to get to a height where you start to be really conscious of the movements you're making, and you start to listen for the bubbles, because the bubbles are what's confidence inspiring, because hitting the flat surface like that hurts, but as soon as they start to aerate the water, you think, okay, I can go for this move. It's kind of big, it's kind of dynamic, but I can throw for this because they got the bubbles on. And like if I fall like out of whack, it won't hurt so bad. So the bubbles are really confidence inspiring, and then you get to a height right below where it says Masters. Not that I got there this year, but this is the height.
Right.
I've been there before, and you start to crest that head wall after being in the overhang, and it starts to get really real, and you're like, I either need to commit and go to the top, or I'm going in the water, and it could be really scary.
Well, I was wondering actually earlier if the bubble guy, the guy that's pressing the bubble button, was, you know, telling you like, oh, that guy thinks I'm about to fall. So like, you know, it's good to hear that it's actually confidence.
Yeah, sometimes you're like, oh, does he think I'm going to blow this?
Exactly.
But then on the other hand, you're like, well, if I do blow it, he's got me.
Yeah, he's got me.
There was one year
Or
I actually
she.
was like begging for bubbles. It was our qualification round, and I was so pumped. I didn't get a good warm-up in, and I was like, looked back and was like, turn on the bubbles, like I'm going to blow it. And I was like, why aren't you turning the bubbles on? And everyone was laughing, and I was like, this is not funny, turn the bubbles on.
I would want those bubbles on, and I would also want the hot tub on for when, after I hit that ice cold water, I'd want to be hanging out like these athletes. Everybody's just holding their breath, waiting to see what's going to happen. And I'll tell you what, Chris, this Olympic Park freestyle pool is on fire. People are screaming, people are yelling. No one has ever seen anything like this happen in Psicobloc competition. It could be the most exciting heat of the entire event.
Yeah, who knows? We could just have some blowouts for the rest of the night. So the crowd's getting into it. They're anticipating this rematch. Very excited about it. And, you know, maybe in the end that these ladies getting fired up through this second round may carry them right to the finals.
Alex Johnson is getting fired up to get her dance on. She's getting her moves going during this thumping music we got going on. We're still waiting for this runoff. I don't think anyone really knows what to expect because we've never seen anything like this happen before. I've never seen anything like the dancing I'm seeing from Alex Johnson before.
The way the two athletes are built is really interesting to note because Kyra's long and lean and I think has more endurance right now, but Pooch is stronger, like bigger muscles. So the way they climb the route is different. And so basically it's Kyra with endurance or Pooch with the power. And this route is powerful, but it's also 60 feet long.
Okay, so it looks like they're getting in position. They don't have their shoes on yet, so we've got a little bit of time, but they look serious. And, you know, I think that this, again, may be the high round of the whole competition. This is maybe one of the things we totally remember from this year, even after the finals are done. This second round.
This is so inspiring, Chris. I am just so excited to see this happen. Alex Puccio's toweling up. Kyra's switching sides with Alex. She's getting her shoes on. You know that those athletes are not going to get their shoes on 1 millisecond before they have to because those shoes are not all that comfortable. If you're Kyra Condie, Chris, what are you thinking right now?
Again, like, you know, you're up against one of the legends, if you will, of bouldering, of competition climbing. As a young climber, I just can't imagine it's impossible to get that out of your head. That in a lot of ways, this, you know, Alex Puccio could be one of her idols. And here she is, head to head, going for the top against one of the greats in the sport.
Absolutely. And this is, for both of these gals, they're primarily boulderers. So doing two 55-foot pitches of this difficulty, we're speculating it's probably 13B, back-to-back, very little rest. I don't think either one of them has been doing route comps in quite a while. So I know Kyra has not done a route comp in a year. She's been almost strictly bouldering.
So for those of you
This is just going to be so exciting.
Well,
Babsy's got an exclusive
and I will go ahead and retell you that Alex called this route playful. That was the word that really stuck out when I talked to her. And I really think that playtime is over for Alex Puccio. She's probably not thinking of this thing as a playful route anymore. This is serious business. And I think we're going to see these competitors get extremely serious on this climb. Not look at each other, just go for the top.
Yeah, them going again means that it just got really serious.
Playtime is over.
Also, the sun went down.
So this has to be.
The sun is down. The competitors are cold. There's no heat back there.
Kyra Condie on the right.
The water here in this pool is actually surprisingly cold. I took a few plunges into the pool yesterday, and I was in the sun.
Okay, we're getting back into the competition. Alex, I want you to get a good view for that. So thanks for coming into the booth, and I know you want to get out there and watch this thing from a good vantage point. Thanks again.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Alex Johnson,
28 years
five-time competitor. Thank you for joining us in the booth. Chris,
So
is your heart
serious.
beating
This is,
faster?
yeah, no, this is awesome. And again, I've been to a few of these, and I don't remember this kind of competition. The crowd is on their feet. They're out on the podium. We're
They're
getting
getting
ready
to go.
for
The
the round
athletes
of the
have
night.
switched sides just in case there's any possibility of an advantage or disadvantage on either side. This is so intense. The athletes are chalking their thighs so they don't have to reach into their chalk bags. And Alex is chalked up to her elbows. That is game face. Wow. That's what I call the smiling assassin. They're smiling, but you know that deep down
Okay.
inside, these guys are like fierce competitors, and they are going to fight for this route.
I just can't imagine they're going to look at each other at all this time. It's just going to be climbing to the next hold, executing, moving as quickly as possible, but not blowing it. And that's just the balance they have to find.
3, 2,
Here we go.
go.
Bottle rockets out of the gates.
I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this
Oh, again.
speed heat.
These two both know this
Tori
route
Perkins in
incredibly well.
control. Oh, a little bit of a slip.
Alex Alex not far behind, but Kyra's really crushing
Kyra
it.
is really turning it on. No surprise there. She is so out to win this entire event, Chris, not just this heat. She wants it so badly.
Kyra Condie, sorry, I said Tori Perkins earlier.
Wow, this is
Come on, this is the
Kyra
neck
with
and
the
neck.
braids, they are neck and neck. Kyra might
So
be
much
tiring
control.
out a little. Here we go.
Here we go again. Oh my God, another.
Kyra Condie.
That one was clear, but so close again. Kyra Condie.
That was amazing. It
Oh
was
my God.
definitive. That is one of the most exciting things I have ever seen in any type of climbing.
That really, yeah. Okay.
She beat one of the best
And what a great
competition
build-up
climbers
for
in
what
the
we're going to
US
see in the
and the
Olympics.
world.
in
So much
2020.
emotion from those women on top of the wall there. So much emotion.
Here we go with that final push to the summit where Alex Puccio just made up a whole body length.
Kyra's in the lead, but Alex is so strong. She
We got the
starts
middle to the
really
top.
see
The
that
athletes
right
are
length.
neck and neck. Look at them grabbing that hold together. Kyra gets a little advantage there, and she gets to the top.
You know, I saw just a
slightly ahead of
little
Alex.
foot slip on Puccio over on the left, and that like dropped her just a fraction of a second. And
Alex is electing to not drop off the wall this time. She is exhausted. She does not need to hit the water poorly. She's had some
One more
serious
time.
injuries in the past 2 years, one of them to her neck. But we got Kyra Condie just sending a route in a style we have never seen, for particularly in the ladies event.
exactly,
At
so much
Cycle
power,
Club.
so much power. They were just
Let's give her a countdown. Let's hear some
like
noise.
animals going up the wall.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
Ooh, that was a hard hit.
Electing to jump off the wall for an extra time. None of the other competitors are going to jump off the wall that many times.
I'm going to call that the most exciting semifinal round I have ever seen, quarterfinal round I have seen in the Psicobloc Masters, no question. Only the men's final last year between Jan Hoyer and Nathaniel Coleman comes close. We had a great round all around. Our champion, Michaela Kirsch, coming through her round to compete against returning champion Charlotte Derief, and Kyra Condie. She'll be going against Barbara Zangerl. Chris, what? I mean,
I'm telling you, Barbara Zangerl is one of my favorites for this competition. Just so much skill, so much composure, so much experience, but she is going to have her hands full with Kyra Condie. Although, I'll tell you, again, an extra round for Kyra, a little bit more fatigued. There is, you know, there's going to be more fatigue on that, and frankly, you know, not a lot of time to rest.
not a lot of time for Kyra Condie to rest. And she did tell me last night, Chris, that her one concern at this event was her overall stamina as the final rounds approached, because she has not been doing a lot of route climbing.
So Kyra just did a sub-minute run, 48 seconds up that wall.
Alex too.
Yes, Alex too, 48 and, you know, point whatever to get up that wall. Just an incredible round. I mean, those women are so fast, executing so well.
Look at Heather Widener back there breathing a sigh of relief that she has a beer in her hand and she's not competing against a sub 50-second athlete. That's 20 seconds faster than Michaela Kirsch's fastest time.
And look at,
previous.
I mean, these other competitors are astounded as we are. You know, this is unusual, and this woman is like, you know, going to have the brightest future in this climbing competitions.
I think I called her a firecracker at the start of this event, Chris, and I am sticking with that assessment of Kyra Condie. She might be climbing on this wall 2 more times. I can't imagine the fatigue she's going to
Yeah,
be
if she gets to that final round, it's for sure going to be a factor in whoever ends up against her. I don't know. But watching those 2 rounds, whoever ends up climbing against Kyra Condie has got to feel a little bit nervous at what they just saw.
You've got to feel nervous, but I think Kyra's going to be feeling a little nervous too, knowing she had to go complete red line the entire time on that wall. The upside is, Chris, she knows she can go red line the entire time on this wall. There's no doubt about that now.
Yeah, so we've got the quarterfinals. These rounds, I mean, the playfulness that we've been talking about, the joy, the fun, I mean, it's still there, but it's a whole different brand. These women have to get very, very serious. Barbara Zangerl in that bracket with Kyra Condie has got to get super serious on this thing. But Lisa, talk about our other bracket.
Our other bracket is going to be equally exciting, Chris, because we have two returning champions. The 2016 champion, Michaela Kirsch, the 2015 champion, Charlotte Dereef. Both of these athletes have spent a lot of time getting to the top of this wall. They're both seasoned route climbers. I think it's going to be a great matchup, and I think they're really going to push each other to get out of their comfort zones and climb quite quickly.
Yeah, and whoever wins and goes into the finals here, you know, I really feel like the bottom bracket there, Condie and Zangerl, that's going to be a real speed championship. And the other two, you know, I think they're going to climb against each other in a measured way, keeping an eye on each other, trying to keep, you know, use as little energy as possible, because we really have to save energy for those final rounds.
We may be down past the time of using strategy, Chris. I think we're going to see both those athletes just charging up the wall in this next round. We got Kyra and Alex backstage talking to each other. They're still going through the beta.
You know, frankly, it looks to me that Alex Puccio now is in Kyra Condie's corner. She is. I want to say that she is saying, look,
Absolutely.
Here's what you have to do. I want you to win. This is what we learned.
Absolutely.
And when you get to the top, be careful, look for these moves, and you've got it. So that's an awesome show right there. Two competitors. Now we've got Alex Puccio in the corner.
Yeah, I think if I'm Kyra Condie, right now what I'm thinking is she's going to be going against an athlete who is super solid but climbs with a very consistent and measured tempo. If I'm Kyra, I'm going to try to match that tempo on the bottom of the route, and then when it gets to the upper head wall, if it's still even close, that's where Kyra can just start cooking with fire, Chris.
Exactly. And no, the thing is that Kyra doesn't probably know Babsy that well. Babsy's not a competitor. She's a foreign climber. She's Austrian, and they travel in different worlds. So she may not have a good sense of the psychology of Babsy Zangerl and really what she's up against, other than what she's seen here at this competition. Babsy's trying to dry her shoes out in the top heater there that they have to warm up that bench.
Well, whether you're Kyra or whether you're Babsy, what's got to be going through your mind right now is whoever goes through to the next round, you are going to be climbing against a returning champion. You're going to be climbing against another competitor who knows she can win this event and has won this event. And that's got to be sitting in the back of both of their minds. Although, if you're Babsy, you're probably thinking right now, I'm going to go against a 48-second heat.
Yeah, that's got to be exactly what she's thinking, is how fast that was. And as you know, not a competitive climber out there in the real rock world, out there climbing on big walls or whatever she does, time does not matter. And so this is brand new to her, this idea that I got to climb as fast as I possibly can. And again, not screw up while I'm going, you know, Mach speed up this wall.
But she probably does have a little bit of experience with that in terms of climbing in bad weather conditions on hard routes. So I think she can turn it on and really give us a good show in this next round. I think it's anybody's game still at this point, Chris. Any of these four athletes can take it all. One foot slip and a fast athlete could be off the wall, and an athlete who is really fit for multiple pitches of hard climbing could be the one to take it all, even if she doesn't have the fastest times going into this round.
And back up to this first bracket with Charlotte Dereef, Michaela Kirsch. You know, I want to say that watching the seating and watching all of this from earlier, the way she executes the moves, the way she composes herself on the wall is probably the most impressive to me.
Absolutely, Chris. She is composed as composed can be. All these athletes are incredibly composed. I think I would just be beyond nervous if I was any one of these competitors, but they're seasoned, they've been here.
And I tell you,
Michaela getting a hug from Nina backstage. She does look a little stressed right now, and probably because this delay has thrown off her timing.
well, I'll tell you what, she looks a little cold too. The sun has gone down, things have gotten a little chillier, and aside from hitting the water and hurting yourself, it can get shockingly cold as the sun goes down and it gets darker. And, we talk about warming up and we think about, warming up your muscles in an athletic way. But the fact is if you're chilly and you're shivering and you got to climb out on that wall and start to move up that wall, you're not feeling your best if you're cold when you get out there.
No, you're going to be stiff, and that could cause you to have some uncomfortable foot moves. A slip down low on this wall could be disastrous, even if you stay on the wall. And it is hard to stay on the lower part of the wall if your foot slips.
So, by tradition, and it's probably not a great tradition, the women's round is first, and that happens in a lot of sports, maybe all sports, I don't know. But the truth is that, the competitiveness in this women's round is, there's no way that the men's round is going to outdo these things that we just did. And it's going to be a great round, but I just can't imagine how they can outdo this.
I don't think it can get much more exciting than what we just saw. We made Psicobloc Masters history with that event. I don't think anyone ever anticipated an actual completely dead tie in any of these heats. There's always been a little bit of separation, but that made my night, maybe my millennium. I hear we've got Alex Puccio coming over, Chris. She's making her way into the booth. She's coming over to talk with us.
As she's walking through the crowd, her fans want to talk to her, slowing her down. They want to talk to her about that incredible climb.
And we want to talk to her too. Welcome to the booth, Alex Puccio.
Hi.
That was just, I almost don't have words for what that was. I've never seen anything like that. Did you expect anything like that to happen today?
No, but I think the one thing I thought going into, do you want me to hold this? Okay, sorry. Going into this round last night, that if I won the first round, I would have to go against Kyra, and I knew she was really fast, and I thought to myself, wow, I kind of like hosed myself by going a little bit too slow in qualifiers. So, I mean, I guess so my first time in qualifiers is 2 minutes and 15 seconds, my fastest, and today, Kyra and I got down to 49 seconds. So that's a big difference.
Okay, we're going to check out a replay. Let's.
You want to talk us through this, Alex?
Oh, whoa, I was winning for a second. I think I stumbled there.
This is the first round.
And this is Alex's first time seeing this replay, so she's gonna get to see what went on that wall.
And we've watched this replay over and over, Alex, and it's impossible to tell what happened on that first round. The puffs of chalk off your hands are exactly timed perfectly. So.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I kind of saw her when on my first run that I was winning at the very top, and my foot had a little, I fumbled my foot placement, which cost me, obviously. And I was too scared to just jump.
Right.
Well, it's game over if you jump.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it was exciting and good race. And I mean, I get my money's kind of on Kyra. That was really fast, but never know what's going to happen.
Okay, so we're going to get this round going, but we'd love you to stick around and help us commentate this thing.
Yeah, stick around. We're going to do some more of the slow-mo
You've been
replay,
up there. We have not been
up.
up there, at least not anywhere high on the wall.
Oh, come on, Chris. I got 20 feet up this wall.
Good job, Lisa. So Charlotte Derief, again, I think this woman is one of the people who's executing these moves as smoothly and as coolly as possible. What can you tell us about Charlotte's climbing style?
Charlotte's been like a phenomenal sport climber for many, many years and has won World Cups in lead, and she's also an amazing boulderer. So, I think she has a good head on her. She's an awesome person, and she's also tall, which kind of helps when you get up higher. But also Michaela is like an amazing sport climber and really fast. So let's see what their time is on this one. And I try to make a bet to Michaela if she can do it under 40 seconds.
Alex, if you had to call this race before it starts, who's your money on?
1, go.
I don't know. I would say Michaela, but we'll see what happens.
We have
Absolutely.
two-
Hedge your bets. You're friends with both of them.
Two Psicobloc champions going head to head. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we have seen two champions compete against each other. Michaela is on fire, but don't rule out Charlotte.
No, you know, and like I was behind for sure when I was going against Kyra in the beginning, and then I took a glimpse that she was ahead of me, and I just somehow turned it on and caught up. So anything can happen.
And Charlotte definitely will know how to turn it on. She's a seasoned competitor. She's a seasoned athlete. And she also knows that if Michaela is going out a little too fast, Michaela could make a mistake.
They are
it looks
neck
like
and neck.
Michaela is dominating right now, so you know this is good, and I think Michaela has it at this point. Unless she slips, but I don't see that happening. Nope.
2 more minutes.
Yeah, Michaela's topping this thing out.
And Michaela wins it.
There goes Michaela. Nice
Alex
shot.
Puccio with the call.
Yeah, and, you know, I mean, once you race up, another thing is you're racing so hard that you're so winded up there, and I mean, I didn't want to jump down. I'm terrified. So I actually down climbed the back because I couldn't get my breath.
Michaela looks genuinely relieved to have that round over. She looked a little game-faced before that round. She's looking a lot more relaxed now that she's on top, and she is going to advance to her second time as a finalist in the Psicobloc Masters Comp.
Yeah, and that's an aspect of this thing that I've commented on, and you just mentioned it as well, is that, you know, not a lot of climbing gets you winded like what you guys are doing, and then to jump in, I hadn't even realized to jump in and have to hold your breath. It's got to be a tough call.
Dude, I don't know how to hit the water or insult because I feel like I start penciling, and then every time right before I hit the water, I bring my legs up for some reason, and I smack so hard, and it's not comfortable. So yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. Michaela usually down climbs, so does Charlotte, but they're up there getting their breath, and they're just waiting until they can, you know, compose themselves to take the leap into the water.
And that replay showed where Michaela just turned it on and started to blow Charlotte away on that wall. So I have a question for you while we're waiting here. You know, when you top out on a wall with your competitor, you know, there's obvious show of emotion. So when you top out and look across to that person, what kind of things are you feeling? Are you just like congratulating each other, the relief, the commiseration?
Oh yeah, I mean the first thing when you top out, well, so yesterday when we topped out, we weren't racing against anyone, it's our best time, and you get to the top and you're like, oh crap, now I have to get down. You know, when you get to the top this time, you're just racing, and so you don't even think about falling, so it's a little bit better, and then you get to the top and you're like, oh, I can catch my breath, thank goodness, either you won or you lost, and if you lost, you're like, oh, that sucks, but it's such a unique competition that I honestly, yeah, I'm gutted that I, you know, had a few mistakes, but I mean, it's such a unique comp that anyone can really win, and all these people are really strong, so it's kind of cool, and we all just encourage each other, and we're reading the beta and fine-tuning our beta before we even get off the ground.
What a beautiful sunset we're getting there behind the wall as we're going from light to dark and gearing up for our final, one more semifinal round, and then we'll be gearing up for our final round, followed by the men's competition. Alex, could you talk a little bit, people always want to know what it feels like to hit the water from 55 feet?
Well, honestly, I've only hit the water from 55 feet once, because this is my second year doing it. My first time up the wall, I jumped, and it actually didn't hurt that bad. I think I actually jumped the best I've ever jumped off the wall, but it was a lot more scary than I thought it was going to be, so every time I've down climbed further and further, and the first year I did it, there wasn't any down climbing rungs, so you actually had to down climb the climb if you wanted to. So I down climbed the actual climb, and every time I down climbed further, it would hurt more, and I have no idea why, but yeah, some people are just less afraid than others, and I mean, I'm not one of those people, especially the older I get a little bit more fearful.
Well, and you've had some serious injuries, so that's, anytime you've had an injury, that's always weighing in the back of your mind, even if you're not conscious of it. Here we go, we're getting Kyra, oh, we got the cleaners on the wall right now. Did you have any trouble, Alex, with any of the bottom holds being wet from the previous rounds?
No, I didn't, but I made sure I asked someone if they could clean the holds off for me, because I feel like I needed every bit of advantage that I could possibly get. But yeah, I think like it's a good idea to have the cleaners go out there, and especially as you get further on in the round, you definitely want all those, you know, because they get more wet as the competition goes on, so you want all the advantages.
Yeah, and we've got a big shot of the wall. We've got an amazing sunset in Park City. This facility is up on it, top of a mountain, basically. The view is incredible, and we're just having a great night here.
Well, we've got a beautiful sunset.
Crowd here, again, having a great time, getting a great show, on their feet for all those rounds, and I think they're going to be on their feet for this one because I feel like Kyra Condie has become the crowd favorite after those 2 rounds. She just has to be. Kyra Condie coming in on the left. Getting lit up. We got the lights lighting the wall up now.
Kyra going again?
We got
Yeah, here we
Kyra going again against Barbara Zangerl. Barbara Zangerl, she's a little bit of a dark horse in this competition in terms of doesn't have a lot of notoriety on the comp circuit, but she's no dark horse to you, Chris Kalous. And
No,
Kyra Condie,
she's not.
the firecracker over there on the left side of the wall. If I'm Kyra, I'm thinking I might be watching Babsy and maybe pacing myself accordingly, trying to save some energy, and then just turning it on once you get to that steep section.
Yeah, I think I don't know even if Kyra and I chalked up at all like our last run, but I mean, I think it's one of those things that if you see you're like way ahead, that you're going to like take it a little bit easier. But yeah, Babsy is like someone that she's really nice. I've only hung out with her a little bit, but she has lots of endurance. She's primarily a sport climber, a big wall climber. So she has like stamina for days, and I know she's terrified of this wall. It's her first year doing it, and I was talking to her a bit because yesterday she got to the top of the wall and she actually jumped off the top and fell really weird. Like she fell like penciled and straight, but then on her back.
Yeah, that was a terrible fall. It looks like she has managed to get that fall out of her head today. She's looked great in every wound. Kyra is definitely not taking the strategy that I thought she might, Chris.
Nope, she's climbing as fast as she can. She's really just smoking Babsy.
I'm so nervous right now. My palms are sweating. I really want to see Kyra have a good run.
And you got to be in Kyra's corner now, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I mean Kyra is like, and she had to climb an extra time too. So I mean she has a little bit of a disadvantage, but I mean it doesn't look like it's really, here now she's like relaxing a little bit more, still going fast, but then she sees how far that Barbara is below her, and so now she knows she can rest and keep her energy.
And she knows she has got to go to the top of this route because Babsy is almost inevitably going to go to the top of the route. So I think we got Kyra a little bit in the clear now. She knows this section super, super, super well now. And we have Kyra Condie with the win.
Kyra Condie.
Wow. She is unstoppable.
I don't know the last time I actually sport climbed besides like 2 days before this event. So I mean, I think I've probably sport climbed 5 times in the last like 6-7 months inside once in a while when I'm bored. And it's funny being out here, and I think like it's not that long of a sport climb, so I think boulders can do really well. And Kyra is primarily, I would say, a boulder, but she also does sport climb, so I think she's like suited really well for this style of event.
Kyra said she hasn't been sport climbing in the past year, but it sure did not look like it there, Chris.
She did do adult nationals, which was like she's on the sport national team. So I know she did that event, and that was a few months ago.
So we have our 2 most bouldering competitors, Kyra and Alex, putting down the 2 fastest times by far, by 20 seconds. I don't know what Kyra's time was on this round. A little slower, obviously, than against Alex. So what do you think going into this next round when we have Michaela lining up against Kyra, who has got to be exhausted but really wants to win this?
So Michaela saw how fast we went. So she knows that Kyra is going to go that fast. So Michaela knows she's going to have to turn it on. I told Michaela that I'd give her $100 if she does it under 40 seconds.
$100. Okay, we're going to put the brackets up. See this final round. Oh, we're going to... Beautiful sunset. I mean, that is a part of what this competition is all about. They couldn't have found a better venue than here in Park City. And again, another jump off the wall, an extra jump off the wall
She wants a toe out. She doesn't want to expend any energy getting out of that cold pool. That was so exciting. And Chris, Barbara Zangerl has absolutely nothing to be upset with her performance
Yeah, we're
today.
not moving on to the next round until I just pay tribute to someone who came in here not a competitor, I mean not a competition climber anyway, and certainly not used to climbing on walls like this, and to get to the quarterfinals, and of course, you know, anybody else she was up against, she had a solid chance, but you know, as you were talking about too, she got stuck against the speed demon, Kyra Condie, and just didn't have a chance. But man, what a great performance from her. One of the best all-around climbers in the world, Barbara Zangerl.
And I think, you know, this we were talking about it back there, and Kyra and I were talking about it after we had our last run together, that this competition is, I think that's why it's more fun, and we know it because it's not 100% fair. It's like two different competitions, all depending on your time the previous day. And that's why we said, oh man, if I went a little bit faster, if she went a little bit slower earlier, that, you know, we wouldn't have gone against each other so early on. And that's the thing, like, it's two different competitions until you get to this bracket, then you meet back up. So it all depends on, you know, where you place the first day and how fast you go, and you never know. And that happened to me the last time I competed as well. I actually made it one round further, but then I had to go against Claire Burfine early on. And she's a speed demon. I think she could, like, you know, even beat Kyra and I's time up that wall. She's really fast, really tall, and really strong.
Yeah, we're definitely missing, she's one of the athletes we're missing this year. One more question for you, Alex, before we go to a commercial. This next matchup, Michaela and Kyra.
A little bit of information, though.
Put yourself in those competitors' shoes, and from both perspectives, what are you thinking?
You know, honestly, Michaela hasn't gone that fast yet, hasn't been pushed that fast yet. So, I mean, if I was Michaela, even though you try to tell yourself you're not nervous, you're going to be nervous the further you get, and she knows that she's going to have to go way faster than she's ever gone yet.
Well, thanks a bunch for sitting through those rounds and helping us commentate. Someone who's experienced up there, knows those holds. And you just, I mean, you basically, I know you're a little disappointed, although you love your competitors, but you set some Psicobloc history in those rounds that you just did. So thanks so much for entertaining the crowd.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alex. Have a great rest of the night.
And we're going to take a short break here and go to commercial and come back with the final round of the women's Psicobloc Masters Series.
Okay, it looks like the girls are ready.
Well, Chris, I'll tell you what, I feel like I need a cigarette after that last round.
Is that what you just went and did?
I can't imagine what's going to happen in this round. Alex Puccio, could she be more gracious?
I know. What an awesome competitor. I mean, look, instantly it looked to me like after that she was in Kyra Condie's corner and ready to go. So I'm sure she's back there watching this and hoping that her girl wins.
Straight into Kyra's corner, and she also is in Michaela's corner. She wants to see a really good final, as do we.
Kyra Condie on the right.
I think it's going to be lightning fast.
On the left.
We think Michaela can really turn it on.
Don't blink. Do not blink, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to happen quickly. Again, there's $100 on the line from Alex Puccio to Michaela Kirsch for an under 40-second climb here.
Kyra's off to a tiny, was off to a tiny lead. Now they're tied.
I mean,
Kyra's turning it on. No, look at her jump through those moves.
I know I'm supposed to be commentating on this, but I'm afraid I'm just going to watch it.
Come on, Kyra.
Yeah.
Come on, Michaela.
It's incredibly fast, and the crowd is going crazy here. Oh my God.
Come on, Kyra.
The crowd's getting up there.
It's going to be close. But Kyra is our Psicobloc.
A new champion.
Masters
A new champion.
Oh, that has got to feel good for Kyra Condie.
I tell you what.
And Michaela has, again, nothing to be ashamed of with that round.
Yeah, as soon as we get the times, I'll let everybody know what they were, but that was an awesome round, and it's so great. You know, Kyra got pushed. She had to do an extra round, and, you know, what a great finish to have her slam through all of that and come up on top.
These are going to be super fast times. The athletes are smiling with each other, bantering on top.
Here's the
That's
replay.
where Kyra
And
really turned it on, where she can jump a way that some of these other female athletes choose not to
Pretty
do.
impressive, huh?
Oh my gosh, that was awesome. So impressive.
Wow, what a round,
So
Chris.
Kyra Condie, 21-year-old student, wins the
Okay.
Psicobloc Masters 2017.
So in just a minute, we are going to be going to the awards for this women's event. What an exciting event it has been, Chris. Michaela's going to down climb and jump. I think Kyra's going to take the big splash. She told me yesterday she had something to prove after last year going out too fast in one of her preliminary rounds and not making it to the finals. She came back this year ready to win it.
yeah, just an incredible composure for a young climber, 21 years old. As Alex Puccio said, she's finally 21. And it's just an amazing performance here. And she is on top of the world. Like, I hope she doesn't just pass out and fall off of there.
I think we're seeing some tears of joy on Kyra Condie's face. I can't wait to get her in the booth and hear about her experience in this event.
Another replay, well ahead. Not quite the photo finish from those other
And
rounds.
look at that shake of joy. She was not worried about getting two hands on top before Michaela Kirsch. And
Yeah, this is one of the women here who doesn't appear to be too afraid of jumping off. She's done an extra jump that none of the other competitors had to do with that extra round.
she was a little bit terrified of that last year, but she said this year
She just
doing a
looked down
couple
at the pool as if
other,
something changed.
Oh, she did a couple other competitions that really helped her to be more comfortable with this jump off the top.
I take it back. She is a little nervous, but here she goes.
I think she's exhausted.
And exhausted. Again, she has to hold her breath after that
The
performance.
audience is behind her, cheering her
Here
on.
she goes. Okay, so we're gonna go right to awards. We're gonna do the women's awards. And then we're gonna take a break while they switch the wall out for the men's round. We need to calm down, actually. We
Oh
need
my
to take
God,
a break.
I'm telling you, I need that cigarette. Kyra needed a toe out of the pool. Whatever the emotional equivalent is, Chris, of that buoy getting pulled to the side of the pool.
She needs that.
I need that right now.
She needs an emotional buoy.
Well, you know, going into this event that I was really hoping that Kyra Condie was going to have a great event. I really love her climbing style. She's very exciting, but also very
Yes.
positive, as are all these female athletes. And it was just beyond my wildest dreams.
Right, and you know, certainly as commentators, you know, we're supposed to keep an even keel, be neutral, but we had our favorites. And in the quarterfinals, you know, it was Barbara Zangerl, my favorite, against Kyra Condie, your favorite, and you win the round.
I love them all, Chris, but I was definitely excited to see Kyra have a great round. And you know, I've seen Johnny and Tara pick favorites at Olympic level competition, so I think we can pick favorites too. There's Kyra. That smile is not going to fade off her face.
And so much
anytime soon.
relief, you know, to come through this competition on top, give a good performance that she's going to live with for the rest of her life.
And Michaela,
amazing performance.
Another amazing performance all through every round. Michaela climbed this wall with such ease. Kyra just had a little bit more speed on that final head wall, and that's what the difference was this year.
Okay, we're going to go poolside for...
You just climbed that 5 times.
How do you feel?
Yeah, I feel pretty out of breath, pretty sore. I think my legs are gonna hurt tomorrow from jumping off that many times.
Kyra, awesome. Good job. That was amazing. So,
Come to the edge, man. Bikes are dropping out. Come to the edge.
right on, Kyra. That was amazing. Especially you had to climb it more than anybody else. So yeah, it was so impressive. Such an amazing climber. Great effort. So you earned it. Congrats. Woo! Thanks to all the girls for an amazing round. You guys all did such a great job.
Oh my gosh. Thanks, dude.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Good
it.
job. That was amazing.
Thanks. I'm so painful. Everything hurts right now.
Hey, it looked like you're never going to fall off, Kyra. Hey, so Kyra, you've done that 5 times now, and you never look tired. How did you feel?
I think I was just too adrenalized. I didn't even get the chance to feel pumped or tired. I was just like suddenly at the top. So that's kind of what it was like, I guess.
And did you think you were going to win?
No, not at all coming in. I thought I had a good chance of maybe doing well, but you know, I knew I had to race Alex in my second race of the day, and that was obviously extremely close. So I'm pretty stoked right now, yeah.
And how does it feel to be the champion?
It feels great. This is my 4th year doing this event, and I've never made it past the second race before, so super stoked.
So $5,000, what are you going to do with the money?
Oh man, I don't know yet. Hopefully do some more rock climbing.
Hey, congratulations. That was sensational. Yeah, give me a high five. Nice. Sweet. Right, we're going to get the men ready for the second part of our competition. Can we have a big round of applause for the ladies?
Nice one. Nice one, Gina.
Okay, so again, we're just over here in the booth, poolside, trying to calm down just a little bit. Just calm down. We're going to get some competitors in here to talk. Hopefully Kyra's going to come over if she can make it through the crowd. I mean, this crowd is adoring what just happened. They want to get selfies with her. They want to congratulate her. So we'll see how long it takes. But in the meantime, let's do a little preview about the men's competition.
Chris, I think this men's event is going to be every bit as exciting as the women's event. Basically, the men will be climbing on very similar routes to what the women climbed on. They're going to remove a few holds to make it a little more compatible with the male climbers. But basically, we're going to see the same style of climbing up this wall, a slabby approach pitch, and then some big risk moves in the middle, where we saw a lot of our male competitors yesterday. There was no guarantee they were making it through that double stalactite section.
Yeah, so here's the course setters up there. Danny Andrada, one of the great climbers of the world, Catalonian climber, you know, just been at it for decades, been course setting for decades, and he's involved. Stephen Jeffries is involved.
Adding a little bit of unicorn dust to these holds so that they're going to be good and chalked up for the athletes when they get there. These kilter grips holds, Chris, mostly designed by Ian Powell, who's one of the owners of Kilter Grips. They feel amazing. The texture on these holds is phenomenal. It's gritty without being abrasive. The holds are pretty sticky, but you can see on these angles, the holds look big, but they are nothing like positive. It's not like climbing a ladder.
We're going to see, I think, with the male competitors, just in general, it's going to be a very dynamic climbing style. They're going to move some of these holds, and we're going to see these male climbers getting off their feet, even in the rounds where they're not ahead, not behind their competitor, where they have to move quicker and quicker. All right, so
that's okay.
We've got a slightly cold, chilly Kyra Condie sitting here in the booth with us.
Welcome, Kyra. That was phenomenal. How are you feeling right now?
I feel so adrenalized. I can't stop talking or breathing or really calm down at all, honestly.
Well, you have every reason to not calm down. That's one of the most exciting things we've ever seen. Chris and I were just dying over here in the booth.
Yeah, no, we have to calm down too. We're just sitting in a chair.
Yeah, I'm freezing. I was shivering before getting on the wall. I don't know if they showed it at all, but I was straight up against the heater right next to it to try and warm up as much as I can, because if you're shivering on the first hold, you're going to waste a bunch of energy before getting up to the top. So I was trying to not do that, and yeah, oh my God, I just can't believe that just happened.
I think we're going to see shortly here, Kyra, a replay of one of the many photo finishes they have of this event, and when this comes up, we're going to have you talk us through that. But you told me yesterday that you were really serious about this. You were here to go all the way to the finals. How does that feel, accomplishing that goal?
Well, you know, I think other years I've always been capable of making it to the final, but I've always had a really hard second race, which was no different this year with me and Alex. That was unbelievably close. I can't even explain how crazy it was to get to the top and be like, wait, who won? But so yeah, all these other years I've had like these like really hard second races and always not made it past that. So it felt really great to get past that, and then after that I was just like, all the weight was off my shoulders. I finally made it past that, like, you know, second race for me. And so after that, I just kind of had fun with it. And I knew the route so well that I was able to just kind of execute.
So here's your first photo finish, the one they couldn't decide.
Wow, yeah. You know, I watched it from the top of the wall. I was replaying on the big screen. And yeah, I just had no idea who won. I think it was honestly a real tie. Both Alex and I kind of thought so too. I really didn't want to go again, but it was probably the most fair way to do it.
It was a very fair way to do it. From the booth, we were calling it that you had a slight advantage over Alex Puccio, but it was so hard to tell. We got another replay coming up of this photo finish between you and Alex Puccio. This is the championship finish, and it was no less close.
Oh yeah, this is me versus Michaela, I guess, but yeah, still really close. I feel like, honestly, though I was tired, I still had a very slight advantage from just having done the climb so many times. Like, I just knew my beta so well, but you can see how excited I was. I did not expect this at all today. Like, really not at all. Like, there's so many strong climbers here, and so it felt really great to, you know, finally climb my best and get to show it, yeah.
So tell me what the experience of going against somebody as experienced, as legendary in a lot of ways as Alex Puccio. Was that at all in your head, or were you able just to put the hammer down?
You know, mostly just Alex and I are friends, and I really wanted to see both of us in the top 4. And, you know, I knew that when I saw that I looked at the results yesterday, and I knew that we were going to have to go against each other in that race. And I was just so sad about it because I knew it was going to be a good race because Alex is so competitive and I'm so competitive, and, you know, we're friends, so we both want each other to do well, but of course we both want to win also. So that was about as good as it could have gone, I really think. Like, you know, a tie and then, like, you know, having to go again, that was just crazy.
Well, she said the same thing about you almost verbatim, about, you know, going up against you and understanding what that meant and what kind of a competitive race it would be. So, you know, she's got a lot of respect for you.
And I don't know if she could be more gracious of, I don't want to say losing that event because it was so close, but she was so gracious.
Yeah, and you know, it was a bummer not to see her in the top. I think we probably had the fastest times of the night in that race. Like, we were just flying up that wall, and so getting to the top with her, and, like, you know, it's just a great moment to be like, holy crap, we just did that twice. Like, oh my God. And it was a really good moment because I really, you know, like I said, I really like Alex, and so that was really great. It was a really fun moment up there.
And that moment with Michaela was great too. She's the returning champion. That had to be in your head as you were lining up for the 5th time up that wall, that you were going against someone with as much experience as Michaela has climbing routes in general and climbing on this wall.
Yeah, Michaela and I have been friends for years. Like, I think I've known her ever since I started competing when I was 11, so it was a really fun moment with her up there as well. And yeah, you know, again, we're both super competitive, and so it was, but I think I think I might have had just a very slight advantage from just having been pushed against Alex. I knew I was capable of going that fast versus Michaela's races. She, I think, wasn't going as fast as she could have. Like, you know, she was able to go a little slower, and even though, so she didn't get that practice of, like, really having to go fast, and so her first one like that was in that final race, whereas I had 3 like that, you know, 2 with Alex and then 1 with her. So
you might have 6th gear though. Some of these ladies have 5th gear, but I think you have 6th gear, Kyra.
For sure.
I'm still in
like
6th gear. I'm like just like shaking from adrenaline right now.
No, I can't tell. I can't tell at all.
I think we need to get her some sleepy time tea here in the booth. If anyone's listening, we need some sleepy time tea.
Just to calm her down a little bit. So a couple of quick questions before we let you go out into this celebration that you're going to join any minute. What do you think of the men's competitors? Who do you think we should be looking at to take that whole thing? What kind of style differences are we going to see? What do you think?
You know, yesterday Ben Hanna was the only person to flash the route. You know, everyone else who topped it did it 2nd try. He was the only person to do it twice, so I think that gives him a slight advantage again. He is the only person to have been up all those holds twice. But, you know, all these guys just kick it into gear. Like you were saying, that 6th gear, they really do that really well. So it's always so exciting. Hopefully we don't see any, like, really big diggers, you know, off the wall and, like, you know, face plants or things like that. but I actually heard they made the dyno slightly bigger today by about 6 inches, so that we might see a little bit of hesitation right before their dyno. So it's an on-site on that dyno today for the men. So that'll be interesting to see as well.
And it looked like any fear that you had of taking the dive off the wall, you got over it. You had to do it in extra time than all the other competitors. Do you feel good about that? Can you go home knowing that, like, yeah, I conquered that part of this competition as well?
Oh yeah, like this year, you know, I've done this my 4th year doing this event, and I think it was great. Like, this is the first year where I haven't been like literally just so terrified on the wall. Like yesterday, I was able to get to the head wall before even like thinking about the water, which was awesome. And then today I knew I could do the route, so I wasn't even like scared climbing necessarily. But then basically every time I got to the top, I was like, dang it, I have to jump off again. And you know, I like jumping off the top. You know, we're here for the crowd, we're here for the live stream, and I think people like the show, so I like to try and jump off the top. And you know, it's not that much better than down climbing, so I just kind of bit the bullet and did it every time.
I'm not sure what you could do next year to make this even more exciting, but I'm going to call it that we're going to see Kyra Condie do a gainer off the top after she summits the wall next year.
That's funny, no.
Okay, so we heard it here first, folks. Kyra Condie will not be doing a gainer off the top of the wall. How long do you think it's going to take you to like come down from this?
I don't know. I'm probably going to ride this all the way through the men's. Like, honestly, I get so nervous watching like all my friends compete anyway that like this will probably just be going for the rest of the night. Who knows?
Okay, well, go join the celebration. Don't forget your trophy here. Get in that hot tub, relax a little bit, and I think everybody out in this crowd and back in the athlete lounge couldn't be happier that you just gave us that performance.
Fantastic performance. We're happy for all the athletes. Congratulations, Kyra. Have a great night. There's no way you can't have a great night after that.
Okay, so we've got the men's seating round up here. Jimmy Webb on top, Nathaniel Coleman, 2 of the competitors that have had great rounds in years past. In fact, I believe Nathaniel had a photo finish, almost taking Jimmy Webb in another round. Am I thinking the right round?
Well, in the finals last year, Chris, we had Nathaniel Coleman and Jan Hoyer.
Oh, it was Jan Hoyer, right.
It came down to nearly a photo finish, but Nathaniel Coleman was not able to control the top of the wall, and you know that is still in his mind, that he just narrowly got beat last year in the final. We're looking at our bracket now with our number 1 seed, Jimmy Webb, who is going to go against our number 16 seed. Jimmy looked great yesterday. Again, he's an athlete we often think of as a boulderer, but he looks solid as can be on this wall. We have Chris Sharma, and Chris told us earlier, Chris, that he's in it to win it too. I mean, he's the producer of this event. He has a lot of external stuff, but he wants to do well.
Yeah, but you know, mentioning also that he is not able to just sit back in that booth back there, concentrate, get into the mode he needs to go. He's doing a lot of things at this event. People want a piece of him. You know, he's probably the biggest climbing celebrity there is, and this is his event. So
he's Chris Sharma. You can never, ever, ever write him out as a contender for the top spots.
Not.
And then we have Chris in the 3rd heat of the night. We have one of your dark horse favorites, Dalton Bunker, a.k.a. Debunk.
Yeah, and I did.
One of our Utah boys.
We asked if we could call him that. Debunk, I mean, this guy is fully a scrappy climber. I like that. I totally love the fact that, you know, he's doing his best. He's a young climber out of Salt Lake, and for my money, I would love to see a young local take this competition. All right, so we've got Babsy Zangerl coming into the booth. Hi, Babsy. How are you?
I am good.
Okay, so quarterfinals. What were you thinking when you came in, when it worked out the bracketing, that you were going to go up against that speed demon, that woman that had shown 2 amazing performances, Kyra Condie? What was going through your head? I was watching you, or we were all watching you, dry your shoes on the heater, serious face. What were you thinking?
Yeah, you know, I was really scared to go super fast because I still had the bad fall in my mind what I took the day before. But I was quite sure that she will be faster than me because I saw her climbing before. And I was impressed. And I slowed down on the top a little bit to be safe, you know, but I had no chance.
Right. How do you feel about, you know, I mean, you had a great performance here. You're not a competition climber. You've been climbing on rock. You've been climbing, you know, in Wales recently. You're a big wall climber. How did you feel coming into this competition? You know, what did you feel like your chances were? Because all of us, you know, were amazed and impressed that you were down in that quarterfinals against that woman that, you know, just was climbing so well.
Yeah, for me it was just cool to try out something new. For me it was completely new to start on a competition like that. I never started on a sport climbing competition before. So I was excited to try it out and see how it goes. So it was just fun.
And you did amazing, and there's nothing to be, you know, bummed about walking away in the quarterfinals, especially worrying about that injury. You know, you want to climb another day, you got to protect yourself.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to throw it down to poolside with Tim Emmett.
Ben Tresco. Let's hear it for Ben and Joey. Ben Hanna. Eric Senna. Carlo Traversi. Palmer Larson. This is a lot of strong boys here, I tell you. Josh Larson. Let's hear it for Josh. Pete Lowe. And Nathaniel Coleman. Last but not least, Joe Kinder. Hey, let's hear a massive round of applause, guys. Let's hear it.
This is Lisa Hathaway back poolside with Chris Kalous, sitting here after one of the most exciting women's events I've ever seen in any sport, but definitely at this event. We're lining up for the men. We're going to start off with one of the fastest climbers and returning champion, Jimmy Webb, going against Joey Katama.
Yeah, Jimmy Webb, you know, in a lot of ways, when he gets on this wall, he is one of the most impressive climbers to watch at these events. Just such a big wingspan, and, you know, just like latimus dorsi, like the wings of a bat. I'm surprised that when he comes off this wall, he's not able to just float down to the pool on those things.
I think if he tried to, we could see Jimmy Webb without a base jump off of the Psicobloc Masters wall.
He's coming in. We've also got a young competitor, Joey Katama, out of Thousand Oaks, out California. Can't imagine what he's thinking going up against, you know, someone with the experience of Jimmy Webb, but I'm sure he's just like delighted to be here and is going to give his best performance that he can. And who knows, you know, Jimmy Webb has been known to slip early on these rounds and get knocked out, so it could happen again.
We saw the two-time champion slip in an early round last year and get knocked out of the competition. One of our few surprises last year as far as top seeds advancing. But we also saw that intimidation does not seem to be much of a factor for some of these young athletes. Kyra Condie came here, had to compete against some of the greatest athletes of our time, and it did not seem to slow her down.
No, I keep hanging my hat on the old guy power. Not that any of these guys are that old.
That these 28-year-olds
are
old.
Yeah, I know. But still, you know, that's getting up there in this competition scene. And that's basically, you know, all I have left to hang my hat on. So I tend to want to give experience, you know, the advantage, but obviously that's not working here tonight quite the way I thought it would.
Chris, I do recall you saying that Jimmy Webb also has one of your favorite heads of hair in this men's event.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're going to talk a little bit about the hair throughout this men's competition. Definitely, you know, if he does hit the pool the wrong way, there's a little protection out of that.
There's a little protection out of that. I think he's going for that slightly must look. We've got Joey Katama with a little bit more groomed look. And we're going to see a great heat coming out here with these two men. Sorry, we're a little giddy now.
Yeah, we're a little
folks.
goofy from the earlier round. We're going to admit. So
we're still
here
feeling
we go.
that
Jimmy
Kyra
Webb,
Condie buzz.
Joey Katama, first round.
Jimmy Webb could destroy this route, but it's got to be in the back of his mind that he has slipped off the wall unexpectedly and gone out in the second round.
Okay, here we go with the men's competition here at Psicobloc Masters. Round of 16. This is first seed against 16th seed.
Jimmy knows that he can take a measured approach on this time up the wall. He's probably doing a little bit of fact finding. They changed the route a little bit from yesterday, so he's going to want to do this dyno with perfect, no problem there.
Beautiful.
Perfect execution by Jimmy Webb. No problem.
No problem
for
on Joey Katama's side, so he...
I believe they made the dyno a little bigger, but they might have also made the footholds a little more positive, and we're seeing that right now in the contortion section.
Man, he is... and a foot comes off.
That was one of those slips that we talk about, Chris, that can happen to any athlete at any time. Talking to Stephen Jeffries earlier, one of the route setters, he did let us know that the route is designed to not cause the athletes pain if they fall.
Double knee bar. Jimmy Webb is, at this point, knowing that he's won the round, he's probably testing some things out, getting some more beta, figuring out these holds. He's going to climb as high as he feels comfortable with his energy level and just get some more beta for the other rounds. This is a red point competition, so anything he can learn by finishing to the top is going to help him out.
Definitely, there's no pressure on Jimmy right now. That's got to feel good. He's feeling out these holds for the future rounds. He's making it look easy. He did fall on the last move yesterday, not so today. He's going to the top of this route. That was fantastic.
Yep. He brought the game that we thought he was going to bring. Definitely the #1 seed, definitely the guy to beat. So in control on that route.
And probably a lot of pressure off his mind after that early slip up last year. Jimmy looking calm, cool, and collected. He's going to jump from the top. A lot of athletes taking their shoes off this year. I recall them leaving their shoes on in past years, but this year they're taking them off.
Might as well keep them dry if you can.
No surprises there at all. Jimmy Webb, our #1 seed after the seeding event yesterday, going through to our quarterfinal round.
So next round, while we're waiting for Jimmy to come down off the top of the wall, we've got the legend, Chris Sharma, the progenitor of this event, the guy that thought it up, put it together 5 years ago.
That was a great landing.
And again, he is a busy man at these competitions, but he's also got the experience to just turn it on, do what he can to get up this wall. And, you know, I think this crowd, honestly, at this point, 5 years into this game, would love to see a Chris Sharma win on top of that wall.
I've got to say, Chris, I would love to see a Chris Sharma win on this wall as well. You know, Chris may not have completed the Bermuda Triangle that your Normocast fans are well aware of.
The Black Canyon, the Rifle, and Indian Creek, is that what you're talking about,
That's
Lisa?
what I'm talking about, but one thing you guys do have in common is you're both new parents.
We are both new parents and also named Chris.
Athletes are getting ready to take their positions on the wall. We have legendary Chris Sharma on the left, and we have Matt Foltz on the right. Matt Foltz is no slouch in this event,
Yeah,
Chris.
exactly.
He
no
can
slouch.
Definitely. He's been in the second round before in 2016. He's a local guy.
3, 2,
It might be hard going against Chris, but I think he's just thinking, oh, Chris got a little bit of a jump start there, but I think the judges are not calling him off on that. And Matt doesn't seem at all fazed by that. Quick start. He's keeping pace with Chris. Matt, one of our 5 male local climbers in this event.
Originally from Idaho, but I believe he's based out of Salt Lake now.
He's based out of Salt Lake, and Chris, this competition has historically had a lot of our top American
Coming into the
athletes.
dyno, and he nails it.
And he's ahead of Chris Sharma.
Again, throwing those dynos, it's about hitting it just right, not going too far, and then controlling that swing to get back on the wall.
Matt Foltz is not looking concerned at all to be climbing shoulder to shoulder with Chris Sharma.
Here we are in the crux climbing. This is definitely a lot of tricky beta, a lot of tricky moves with the feet to hold on, to toe hook, to heel hook.
For our non-climbing friends listening, beta is what climbers use to describe the path one takes up a route. And Chris just went from 2 underclings to a left-hand pinch.
Oh, Chris is ahead.
Yeah, but he's slowing down a little bit. I can't tell if
trying
this
to
is
figure out the
gamesmanship.
beta.
Come on, guys.
And
Yeah.
Chris did not make it to the top of the wall yesterday, so he's on-siding. If he can stick this next move, though, I think he's got a really good chance of going all the way to the top.
Oh, he's
Matt
got
is
it.
hanging on.
Matt is hanging
By
on.
the skin of his teeth, he does not want to give this route up.
Yeah, I mean, the last round with Jimmy Webb made this route look easy, and here's Chris Sharma struggling,
and
and
Chris
both
is
competitors are off the wall.
But we did expect this runoff to be quite close because these are our two closest seeds coming into this round.
Chris Sharma's winner, slightly higher, but not by much.
No,
Not by much.
not by a lot. He still has not been to the top of the wall, and that might be something to think about in the next round coming up in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I mean, watching Jimmy Webb climb that route, without too much struggle, finding rests, I mean, that is the guy to beat. He is definitely the contender at this point.
He threw down a first round that showed all his competitors that he is gunning for redemption.
He basically just dropped in their heads and said, yeah, I'm here.
And that top hold is really, really slopey, so it means the last move to get the last hold is no joke. It's really fall off it.
Yeah,
So
replay.
Chris getting
Almost finishing the route. He didn't finish it yesterday either, so
But now
he's
he
not been at the
knows
top.
what
He
that
does know
hold
that
feels
hold.
like. So he's got a better chance going into the next round. I mean, if there's anyone who can put together the finish of a route with no advanced knowledge, it's Chris Sharma.
And the legend, Daniel Woods, on the right-hand side. You can take your positions on the wall, please, gentlemen.
We've got our next two athletes queuing up, but we also did just learn that there was a technical on that route, Chris.
2, 1, go!
He had a bit of a false start, and they would have DQ'd him had it come down to time. But since it didn't, they're letting it stand.
Daniel's originally from Richardson.
And actually, it also is Chris Sharma. So interesting. He's moving. He gets to do what he wants. No, that's not true. But they want to keep this thing fair, and they don't want to interrupt the flow. And the truth is that it ended up not mattering, and so they didn't DQ Chris Sharma.
So, Chris, we've got two-time second place finisher Daniel Woods on the right side of the wall, and one of your favorites coming into this event, Dalton Bunker, who is climbing for the third day straight.
Exactly, because he was a wild card qualifier, one of the open qualifiers to get in this thing, and it's one of the reasons that, I don't know, I just feel like I want this kid to win.
He's climbing against a legend in this sport and an athlete who's got to want to stand on top of the podium after being second place twice. Dalton's ahead right now, but Daniel's route fitness might come into play at the top of this route.
Man, they are right there.
They are close.
But this is hard climbing. Again, Jimmy Webb made it seem easy, and I was worried that we weren't going to have a lot of drama, but that's Jimmy Webb. He climbs without drama.
Just when we thought we couldn't be more impressed by Jimmy's ascent, Dalton is looking poised.
Bunker, come on.
Hard move.
Oh, he looked over. Close call.
Dalton Bunker having to still mantle out the top. The men's finish is nothing to turn your nose up at.
That was an amazing reaction from the crowd for the hometown kid, too. Well, I tell you what, the last move, and I talked to Carlo Traversi earlier, and he was telling me that last move, it's not a jug. It's a huge looking hold, but it is not a jug. It's a slopey, not in-cut hold. And what he mainly said, though, is that as you set up for it and you do that high step, it's a little bit of a nervy move because it makes you feel like you're going to fall over backwards for 1 second. And nobody wants to fall over backwards towards this pool.
Well, and we've seen a lot of these men when they're executing that final move. You can see their hips come out away from the wall. You know that hold is not as positive as it looks. These kilter grips holds are just amazing.
Here's the move we're talking about. Again, a high step, hip, and for just 1 second, that hesitation.
Because that hold is not good.
And he gets it.
Daniel
Couple
Woods
of glances at each other right there.
Yeah,
just wondering what's going on.
And again, Daniel Woods, accomplished athlete with a mile-long list of accomplishments under his belt, but he was very gracious at the top, immediately congratulating Dalton.
And Daniel Woods, how many times has he competed in this thing?
Daniel Woods has competed. This is his third time, I believe, in this event. He's a returning athlete. Like I said, he won in 2013 and 2014. He's very experienced with this wall. But he hasn't been competing the last 2 years here, so he might have been a little less familiar with this format.
Okay, so Joe Diaz on the left, getting ready for the next round.
And Ben Trusco, who has had some great rounds during the seeding. Neither of these athletes sent the climb. And by send, we mean get to the top of the route with both hands on top. Neither one of them got to the top, so they'll be on-sighting if they make it past the head wall.
And Ben Trusco is another local, another Momentum team climber
so expect
from right here in Salt Lake City, so the crowd's going to go crazy.
Are you ready?
Joe is another young athlete, only 21 years old, former gymnast, who got a birthday party start, Chris.
Yeah, the birthday party start. I've interviewed a lot of climbers, a lot of young climbers who went to a birthday party at a climbing gym, and that was actually the somewhat inauspicious beginning of their climbing career, and that's where Joe Diaz fits into this.
They're pretty close right now, Chris. It's definitely anyone's race at this point, neck and neck.
Oh.
Trusco just sent the dyno, and Joe Diaz right behind him.
So on the last round, Dalton Bunker's best time yesterday was 2:38, and he just did it in 1:27, shaving over a minute off his time. So yeah.
That's got to feel good, Chris. Coming out in the first round, going against a legendary athlete and being able to shave almost half of your seating time. We got Ben just almost looked like he was creeping ahead, but we're neck and neck in these.
Neck and neck. These guys are hitting holds almost simultaneously.
It's going to be another close finish. Are we going to have
Man, you know what? For the last second there, it almost looked like Ben Trusco had a huge smile on his face right before he fell.
Well, maybe those men were anticipating the same thing that happened to Alex and Kyra, and Ben was thinking, I don't want to have to climb on this wall 5 times. Ben Trusco, Joe Diaz advancing in that round. He was our number 4 seed, so.
Yeah, you know, actually, you know, that was what we expected. Joe Diaz being 4th seed, Ben Trusco 13th seed. But it's good to see the young climbers from Salt Lake representing up here. And like I said, when that crowd exploded, I swear I saw a smile on his face. So I think he had a great round. He's got to be happy he committed to those final holds and took the plunge.
Very exciting for a number 4 seed and a number 13 seed going head to head. But yeah, Joe Diaz, his first time on this wall, first time in this comp. Very good performance. And yeah, and we've got next, we're calling him a wild card because he did have to go through the qualifying round. But Ben Hanna, he's definitely not a dark horse. We know Ben Hanna. We've seen him on this wall before. Ben Hanna and Eric Senta.
And in his seed rounds, didn't he top out both times?
He was the only male athlete to both on-site the route and top it out both times.
So yeah, I mean, that's a huge advantage. He's felt all the holds. He's done them twice, so it's refining beta every time that you do it. You've got your strategy in mind. But I'll tell you what, do not count Eric Setna out. He's a Canadian competitor, multiple champion, and an interesting thing about Eric is that his sister is also one of Canada's best bouldering competitors, having been a champion Canadian competitor for a few years up there. So we've got a family legacy in this competition climbing.
Ben Hanna off to a fast start, just like we expected. He had a great seed time yesterday. He never really had to push himself compared to the other male competitors. But Eric Setna is not going to go down without a fight. He's right on his heels.
You know, when I talked to Eric Setna, he said that the beta, that the climbing right on the steepest part of the wall, on the tsunami wave of the wall, He said it's tricky, and nobody's kind of using the same beta. Everybody's trying all these different things with their feet, with their toe hooks, with the opposition you're getting out of your heels, and he was definitely concerned about that section wall, so let's see how he does.
Right now they're moving through this section of the wall a lot faster than they did yesterday. They were far more tentative trying to figure out that contortion section.
This is still anybody's heat, even though Ben is a little bit in the lead.
Ben has the advantage of having been to the top of this wall
He knows
twice.
these holds.
He knows these holds. He also knows
Looks like he's got
that
it.
he's got to really lock it down for these final moves to secure the win. Sorry, Ben, no dark horse there. We were expecting you to do well, and you did not disappoint.
Eric Setna's off the wall. Good performance, got through those sections that he wanted to get through, but just couldn't put the hammer down like Ben did. Yeah, and this is where Ben just kind of hooked it in and took the lead, getting that dyno taken care of, although he looked a little shaky on that.
Well, it's a bigger dyno than it was yesterday, Chris.
Yeah.
They estimated 6 inches, but I think not hesitating on that dynamic move is going to be a big factor as the rounds get faster. The athletes will not have a chance to think twice.
And I think he's got that last move really dialed. That looked as solid as anybody since Jimmy Webb did it easily in the first round.
Jimmy Webb, the wind beneath our wings in this event. I mean, I think he could fly us down from the top of that wall, Chris.
We've got Carlo Traversi on the left-hand side from California.
Okay, Carlo Traversi, one of the best boulders of all time, one of the strongest boulders of all time, but also becoming a really well-rounded climber in the last few years, doing big walls around the world, hard routes even in Yosemite.
And I believe he's starting to open some gyms as well, Chris, as he is moving into
Maybe a bit of a post-competitive sort of life.
On the right, we've got another local guy, Palmer Larson, who is very difficult name to pronounce on the fly, let me tell you.
Pilar.
Pilar, one of my favorites. He said we can call him Pilar.
And also, again, you know, going back to my era when all climbers were filthy dirt bags, I have to admire Pilar's hair.
Pilar, he's well coiffed, he's well groomed, and he is one of the nicest guys.
There was a time when
you
climbers
can ever meet.
There was a time when climbers would have left a ring in this pool when they went into it. And these guys, even when he comes out of the pool, watch, the hair is going to be perfect. And he's climbing amazing, so it's getting him up the wall.
The first aid team might not have pulled Mittendorf out of the pool, but they'll definitely pull Palmer out if they need to. He's looking strong today, Chris. He did not make it to the top of the wall. He really wants to make it to the top of the wall. Even if he does not win the heat, he's going for the top. Palmer is a youth coach. He is bringing back to the sport what he got from it. He was on the momentum climbing team, producing so many great athletes locally.
Exactly, and a teammate of some of these other local athletes on this, in this men's bracket.
Carlo looking strong and solid as always.
Yeah, Carlo, you know, the experience is going to pay off for Carlo. He knows what he's doing when it comes to
But that last
hanging
move,
on.
Chris.
No, the last move, he told me it was in his head, so let's see how he does.
Palmer
Okay,
getting
rocking
a
up.
big round of applause.
All right.
And now Carlo is going to finish this route. That was a great round. Palmer did a little bit better than he did yesterday, so he's got to be happy with that. But it's hard to beat Carlo Traversi in an event like this.
Yeah, and again, you know, the guy can be composed. He is an experienced climber on all sorts of climbing. Replay.
Carlo is a little bit behind there, but after this dynamic move to the stalactites, fangs as Chris calls them, Carlo really started turning the heat on.
So and the difference there is I noticed that Palmer heel hooked, and in the exact same move, Carlo Traversi put his toe underneath the fang. I don't know if it made a huge difference, but again, these men are working with all this different beta inside of those hard moves on that super overhanging part of the wall.
You can definitely escape from a toe hook a little faster, Chris, than you can a heel hook, but it's a high-risk move in a high-risk section on this climb.
And again, I know Carla's stoked to get over that last move on top of the wall, and he was also the one who told me that even the last mantling onto the top's got a little slant to it, and you know, I don't think he has any problem with it, but he said he was just surprised when he got up there that it wasn't perfectly flat.
It's got a slant. Thankfully, there's a jug, but when you're that exhausted, it's got to feel hard to stand on top of that wall. So no surprise in that round. Carlo Traversi advancing. So far, I believe all of our top seeds in each round have advanced. So no surprises yet in the men's round. We're coming to Josh Larson and Pete Lowe. Let's talk a little bit about Pete Lowe, Chris. He could be the darkest of dark horses ever.
Even he said that, I believe. Yeah.
I think he said he was darker than dark.
Yes. And the truth is this guy, you know, it's what my friend Hayden Kennedy calls the undercover bone crusher. Very much off the scene. He's a dad. He's got 3 kids, climbing out of Logan, Utah. But, you know, recently having established 514 here in Utah, not somebody to dismiss from this race just because he's not a super well-known name.
Josh is back for his 4th time in this event, but he has had a couple of misfortunes before where he actually had to get rescued out of the pool after having a bad fall.
Yeah, just rang his bell and they had to go in and get him. But hopefully that's not in his mind. I'm sure he's gotten back over it.
It did not look like it was in his mind yesterday. Both of these guys are Salt Lake residents right now. And so we're seeing hometown favorites going head-to-head in this round. Pete Lowe having no trouble with the double dyno.
Yeah, Josh actually Worcester, Mass. Not a hometown here.
But he lives here now, doesn't he?
Oh, he lives here in Salt Lake?
Yeah. Oh. We're just making stuff up here. I'm wrong about Josh Larson, but these athletes are competing head-to-head. Pete Lowe is showing that he can compete with these athletes who compete on a regular basis. He found that double knee bar yesterday, Chris, and showed all the other athletes that
they're actually talking to each other on the wall from the double knee bars, having a good time up there. They're going to let that talking to each other on the wall. I don't think I've ever seen that quite the same way at this competition.
Who's going to leave the double knee bar first is the question.
It's like a game of chicken.
So this is really going to be a sprint to the finish, but it is going to be new terrain for Pete Lowe for sure.
One thing to note about Josh Larson is he's actually an experienced deep water soloist outside of this competition, so that's got to be helpful.
It's got to be helpful, but
man, but they are.
Pete Lowe did not look like he
was. Looks like Josh has gotten the better rest out of those knee bars.
Come on, Josh.
Pete Lowe hitting it but struggling.
Come on, guys.
But he's still in this game.
He still is in this game.
This men's route is not over until you do the last move. But that did
Pete Lowe's out of there.
seal it for Josh Larson.
Josh Larson hits the top.
To advance to the next round. He doesn't need to top, but he will top.
I think both those competitors get Spirit Award.
Absolutely.
Is there a Spirit Award? I think we got to put one together before the end of the round.
I think they will definitely get the Spirit Award for this event. I think all they needed, Chris, was a set of pom-poms up there. Maybe we could have the route setters toss them up next year so they could shake their pom-poms from their double knee bar rest.
Showdown is very, very unique indeed, and it just goes to show how much they're enjoying this. Lots of good friends here.
So again, Josh Larson does have some deep water soloing experience. So even though he did take a bad fall here, hit the water hard, you know, that experience I'm certain overcame it. He looked like he was totally relaxed up there, having a great time, talking to his competitor. You know, that's the kind of thing we just love to see at this competition.
Pete Lowe getting higher on the wall than yesterday, falling a little sideways. Hopefully he's not going to be feeling too badly from that fall. You know, Chris, whoa. That was an exciting entry. I'm going to give him a 10.0 for that leg. His toes could have been more pointed, but I like that entry.
I don't know. He was asking for it. Glad he got his legs closed.
Chris, we've talked a lot about accidents that some of these athletes have had falling off the wall or foot slips, but it doesn't seem to be slowing anyone down. Everyone's climbing with confidence.
Yeah, you know, and that's, again, the competitors told me, some of them said, yeah, everybody's a little nervous, but, you know, once they leave those starting holds, the laser focus comes on, and most of these guys just toss it out of their heads. Plus, the seeding round gets you that experience, lets you get those jitters out, and here we are. So.
And here we are with our number 2 seed and returning podium athlete Nathaniel Coleman, another one of our local boys, and climbing legend Joe Kinder on the right.
And again, we've got a kind of a diverse couple climbers here. You know, Nathaniel Coleman, a competition climber, you know, primarily very much a competition climber, and Joe Kinder not. You know, he's a route developer, an outdoor climber, an amazing, well-versed climber, but these guys couldn't come from more different backgrounds. So let's see what that pans out as.
Nathaniel Coleman is no stranger to speed. We saw him fly up the wall last year against Jan Hoyer, narrowly missing a tie like Alex and Kyra had in the women's round earlier today. No problem on the dyno. Nathaniel.
Also, you know, it's interesting to note that Nathaniel Coleman is a trained ninja warrior.
We've had a few ninja warriors in this event, and Nathaniel knows he does not need to finish this route, so he's going to drop off. That was a great strategy move.
A strategist, a guy he doesn't need to go to the top of the wall to win that round. He's going to save his energy. Also, as long as we're talking about hair, only man bun in the competition today.
The only man bun that we've seen, although Joe Kinder could possibly pull one off if he wanted to. That round of 16, Chris, went pretty much exactly as we expected. We didn't have any surprises in that round. All of our top seeds will be advancing to the quarterfinals. And there's Joe doing the double dyno, not sticking it. Nathaniel knew he stuck the double dyno. That's all he had to do. He's familiar with the top of this wall. He got to the top yesterday.
Chris Sharma, the brainchild of Psicobloc.
Okay, so we're on to the quarterfinals again, as Lisa said. Nothing really that surprising here. The top seeds in each round took that round, and we're still watching Jimmy Reb, and up against Chris Sharma, that is going to be an amazing round. You know, 2 of the most experienced competitors going head-to-head, although I'm going to have to give it to Jimmy. This is where it gets good, but, you know, what Jimmy did in the first round, unbelievable, and I can't believe that, you know, if he can just stay composed, it's going to look easy for him again.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Chris, if Jimmy or Dalton, which of those 2 athletes had the fastest time in the round of 16, but I think Jimmy is, again, kind of like what we saw with Kyra Condie. He's got a little bit of a monkey to get off his back. He wants to go all the way to the finals this year and get his crown back. I think he's going to push Chris to climb a little bit faster than Chris might care to climb in a quarterfinal round.
Exactly. But, you know, we watched Chris struggle a little bit on that climb, a lot actually, and we just saw Jimmy handily move up the wall.
Handily, for sure.
Looking at that crowd, people are having a great time, just letting that excitement simmer here in the quarterfinals. This is going to go fast. These rounds are going to go super, super fast.
Definitely going to go super fast. If you're Dalton Bunker right now and you're going into your first time in this competition, going into the quarterfinal round, what are you thinking, Chris?
Well, again, you know, experience. We got this new kid, this excited kid, going up against some experience. But I don't know. It looks like the kid's unflappable. So my money's still hanging there with
Dalton Bunker
D-Bunk.
seems as calm, cool, and collected as an athlete can be for being on the big stage, his first time. Nothing seems to really get him too phased.
Okay, so we've got Pete Lowe coming to the booth, and we've also got the first round of the quarterfinals getting sorted out. So maybe Pete can help us do a little analysis of this thing. How are you? Welcome to the booth, Pete.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we'll talk to you a little bit about your experience. These guys are getting started. Jimmy Webb, I don't know, that first round was amazing.
Total badass. This is going to be awesome. Chris and Jimmy, two of the best.
But Jimmy knows that he can't make a mistake against Chris Sharma, because Chris Sharma can take advantage of that mistake and go all the way to the top of the wall.
So while these guys are getting started, what'd you think of your round? You look like, I mean, you guys get the Spirit Award, talking to each other up there. I think that's kind of a first, that kind of conversation. How are you guys doing up there?
Josh was nice enough to wait for me. Before we went, he said, okay, we're getting in the knee bars together. And I said, okay, dude, but just give me a few seconds because it's going to take a while. And then we got there and we decided we'd do a countdown. I'm sitting in the knee bar and I said, how much longer, Josh? And he goes, 10 minutes. I said, okay, I got 10 seconds. Okay, so then we did the countdown. It was great fun. Love doing them. It's such a great bunch of guys.
Jimmy and Chris are off to a close start. Jimmy is edging ahead right now. He's one of the most familiar with this wall athletes, and it's showing right now. Super poised, super strong. No problem with the high-risk move, Chris.
Yeah, how'd you feel about those dynos up there, Pete?
It's all about committing. You got to just jump hard, just like Chris did, slap those things, and keep moving. The dyno's not the hardest part over the lip, right where Jimmy's getting to at this time. Like, it's just powerful, and you're drained at that point. This is a long lock-off right there. I can't tell you much beyond that because I fell there.
And I mean, Jimmy Webb, let's not forget, Chris Sharma is 2 body lengths below him. Chris Sharma. This is...
Yeah.
Jimmy Webb just did a jaw-dropping round. Again, Chris, he threw down. He showed his other competitors that they are going to have to do everything they can do if they have a chance at him.
Yeah, I can't see another competitor.
Jimmy's a beast, but you've got some of these young kids coming up on him as well, and they're just extremely fit. So this will be fun to watch the finals there.
Do you want to repeat for us what you just said?
Yeah, I said Jimmy's a total beast, but these young kids, they're so fit, and it'll be really fun to watch how they charge up this wall. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah, so Sharma just topped out the wall. He's got to feel good about that. Just got kind of smoked by Jimmy Webb, but, you know, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to touch that guy. The only thing I can think of, because he's so controlled, is somebody's just going to have to fling themselves at that wall going Mach 10 to try to just do everything they can to scramble past Jimmy Webb.
Don't rule out Ben Hanna. He did
You'll
go to
see some guys flinging themselves at that wall.
Ben Hanna's been to the top of this wall twice. The only athlete I have seen climb faster on this wall than Jimmy Webb is Sean McCall from Canada. He put down some amazing heats when he was here.
I don't know, you know, it's interesting talking to these athletes. This is my first time climbing on the big boy wall. But they've mentioned this setup this year has been one of the more challenging, so that could also be a reason for a little slower times.
So what's it like climbing in front of this hometown crowd? Because, you know, they're definitely going crazy for you local guys.
You know, I was so nervous of just not falling on my face when I would jump for that dyno that I really wasn't thinking too much about the crowd. And then, but then when we got in the knee bars, we heard everybody go crazy. It was really fun. Really brought it just to, this event's really about just having a good time, being passionate and going for it. And I thought that's what Josh and our run kind of exemplified, so it was fun.
You guys absolutely created one of the most memorable moments. And you know what? You kind of needed to do something really memorable after what we saw in that women's semifinal round, quarterfinal round. But
we were excited to do that, and like when I was chatting with you before, when I said, you asked me whether I was the dark horse, and I said, yeah, I'm the black horse. I realized the least I can do is try to put on a show, so.
You guys put on a great show, and it was a great, really fun heat to watch, and it looked like you were having a good time.
So fastest time so far on the wall, 104 by Ben Hanna. And again, that's gonna, the speed is the only thing I think that can get past Jimmy Webb if there's anything. So hopefully these guys are coming up with some sort of strategy, but they got to get to that round. So right now we got Dalton Bunker back on the wall.
Dalton Bunker is going to be climbing against Joe Diaz, who put down the 4th fastest time during seeding. Dalton was the 3rd fastest seed. This is going to be a really close match, Chris. Look for them to go really fast.
Okay, Pete, thanks for coming over and giving us what we needed, and I'm glad you had a great round.
Super fun to see Pete climb with such poise and enjoyment. His first time on this wall. That's got to be messing with his head a little bit. And young Dalton Bunker, Chris's young favorite coming into this event, he is not looking fazed by anything. He's climbing nice and steady. He's got a little bit of an edge, but Joe is doing his best to catch up.
Yeah, coming in there. So actually we got a new fastest time from Jimmy Webb in that last round, 56.07.
Still not as fast as the ladies though, Chris.
No, still not as smoking as the ladies' times.
These guys are
It is very close.
Going up to the top.
Come
Dalton
on.
has more experience on this top, but Joe is not giving up.
Good fall on these moves.
Dalton is going to get it.
Another photo finish from Dalton and Joe Diaz, like a second apart. We don't have to dispute this one, but it was close.
We're just going to wait for the judges to confirm exactly who it was.
That's about as close as you can get to not having a tie, Chris. Here we are at the photo finish.
Again, those moves can fall off. It looks like Joe Diaz just
beat him by
didn't do it
hand.
in control, and
but you got to give Joe Diaz a lot of credit. He was behind by almost a body length coming into that final head wall, and he was able to gain on Dalton Bunker. You know, like they always say in climbing, if I had 10 more feet, I could have won.
Is that what they say?
Actually, I think they say it in track and field.
So local climber Dalton Bunker in the quarterfinal. So yeah, I mean, and he was a qualifier. He came in out of nowhere on, well, not quite out of nowhere, but well known.
Out of Salt Lake.
But still not an invitational. Came in and qualified as a wild card, and now he's in the quarterfinals. He's got to feel amazing about that.
He's got to feel amazing. He's going against Jimmy Webb. I don't want to hex him, Chris, but I do want to say that so far our pregame picks have been doing quite well. My pregame favorite won the ladies event in one of the most exciting finishes we've ever seen, and so far your boy Dalton Bunker is on track.
Yeah, that's 50-some years of climbing knowledge right there combined. That's how that's happening.
Spectacles are off of
Don't drop
Joe
them.
Diaz for this jump. He's got him in his hand. I don't know why he doesn't toss them.
Might do something interesting, a front gainer. I don't know.
We need to get some audio up on top of this wall
I know.
on future comps. We can hear what these athletes are saying to each other. I'd love to know what Alex Puccio.
I don't know. I think
what are you saying to Alex Puccio?
It's a private moment between two men.
Oh, we're going to see a backflip.
Oh my God. Okay, some entertainment value out of these
We've got our
guys.
MC Tim Emmett showing some concern for Joe Diaz, who does not look at all days. Double or 2.5, Chris?
I guess you can hit that water flat and survive, because that's
there's
just
one.
what Joe did.
There's two.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Well, Chris, we said the men were going to have to really put something exciting, show us something exciting to top what we saw in that women's event, and they are delivering.
Yeah, this is just a great 5th year at Psicobloc. It's almost like these competitors have learned how to entertain at this thing. The crowd's got to be so appreciative. I mean, he just risked his life and limb to give us a double backflip. All right.
Chris, it almost looks like they're having fun. Ben Hanna, who was our fastest time in the first round, going against Carlo Traversi, who is no stranger to speed. Carlo can move fast.
Let's hear it for Carlo. Carlo's also been
Just the classic double fist pump from Carlo.
And Ben Hanna, he had to qualify for this event as well, but he is no dark horse.
No.
He's no wild card. He's experienced in this event. He's competed in it before and done quite well. And he moves very fast on this wall. He always looks super comfortable. The only athlete to top the wall twice yesterday. He'll be climbing on your left, Carlo on the right. Off to a fast start, Chris.
Yeah, totally. Surprising. Carlo really spun right into that. He's keeping up. Little foot bobble. Got him slowed down there.
But Ben Hanna is really turning on the heat here. He's super comfortable. Maybe he wants to beat Jimmy's time. He knows how fast Jimmy is. And he wants to send a message to Jimmy that he can climb fast as well.
Really fast times.
And Carlo is crushing as well. He's not that far behind.
No, he is
Ben.
not that far behind.
Both of these athletes, if they make it to the top of the wall, are going to put up really, really fast times.
Yeah.
Maybe almost as fast as the women.
Nope. Ben just put the hammer down.
Here we are on that last wrist move. Not a problem for Ben Hanna.
I'm telling you, that Ben Hanna has that last move dialed better than any of the other competitors.
And Ben Hanna has that 6th gear like we saw with Kyra Condie.
I don't know what makes these youth climbers so fast, but I tell you, it's again, coming into this competition, it is something that you have to dial in. It's not something you use outdoors. It's not even something you use in a lot of competitions. So the speed aspect, it's just something that they must just have on lockdown.
I can't speak specifically to Ben Hanna's experience, Chris, but I can say that a lot of these youth competitors do have experience speed climbing, because since they have started doing the youth program, speed is always a part of it. And that's going to come into play as we move towards Tokyo in 2020, because the athletes who compete in the Olympics when climbing is an exhibition sport will have to do a combination of speed, bouldering, and lead difficulty climbing, which is what all these young athletes have done coming up through the competitive circuit. Kids these days.
Carlo into the pool.
When's the last time you speed climbed, Chris?
Say that again, Lisa.
When's the last time you speed climbed, Chris?
I don't, you know, there's times in the Black Canyon, Bing, you know, storms moving in, you got to put the hammer down, but nothing like this.
What about when you were free climbing El Cap? Did you have to climb
You mean the
fast?
free rider?
The free rider. Did you have to go fast?
No, we climbed it in 5 days. All right, you NormaCast fans, that's all for you.
Josh Larson coming up, and Nathaniel Coleman, our #2 qualifier and last year's #2 Psicobloc Masters champion.
Well, we've got the 7th seed Josh Larson against the 2nd seed Nathaniel Coleman. I mean, I just think that Nathaniel Coleman is so strong. He's a contender for this. He's a consummate competitor. I don't know. I have to give this round to him, but Josh Larson put in a performance against Pete. They had a lot of fun, and, you know, I can't count him out either.
I think Nathaniel is very seasoned at competing in general and on this wall. He's ready to go. He told me earlier that he was going to be using strategy as much as he could. But basically, you've got to really focus on this route. You can't let your attention slip from any body part, Chris. Everything has to be active at all times.
All the male competitors told me that, you know, they thought that middle section after the dynos through the steepest part is a slow climbing section, even though Ben Hanna showed us that that's maybe not true for everybody. But they do have to concentrate. They do have to hit those holes just right. And the main thing is the feet, the footwork in there, where those toes go, where those heels go. It takes time, and everybody said that's a really hard section of the wall.
Neither athlete having any difficulty with this high-risk move. They're both still on the wall, and they're a lot closer than I was expecting, Chris. But I think Nathaniel's going to turn it on. But Josh is definitely pushing him.
That V15 power really helping him to get up this wall. Come on, Josh.
Josh Larson trying to keep up here. Nathaniel's gonna just take it down. Although he did fall off that move last night one time.
He had to go to the top this time. That was not a particularly fast heat compared to what we saw with Jimmy Webb, 56 seconds, and Ben Hanna, 53 seconds in their rounds. If we see Jimmy Webb and Ben Hanna in the final round, we are going to see a lightning fast round, Chris.
Yeah, so we'll say it again here. So Jimmy Webb's time in the quarterfinals was 56.07. Ben Hanna's 53.71. So although, you know, I kind of have a feeling that maybe Jimmy Webb has some reserves in there he hasn't even shown us yet.
We have not seen Jimmy Webb really be pushed on this wall yet. I don't think we really saw Ben Hanna being pushed, but in his previous round, he definitely had a closer competitor than we've seen. Has anyone even been 2 body lengths with Jimmy Webb?
Well, and also with Nathaniel Coleman, we saw him drop off the wall after he knew he had won. One of the only competitors, or first competitors, to do that on purpose as a strategy to save energy.
And to save his man bun.
And yeah, absolutely. Although it comes out when he gets out of the pool. But nevertheless, my point being that just because Nathaniel wasn't fast on that round doesn't mean he can't go fast, because if he's looking down and seeing that he's ahead of his competitor, why turn on the heat? Why waste energy going as fast as you can when you simply don't have to? So don't count him out of the speed round either.
I agree, Chris, and Nathaniel did tell me that this year he was going to try to use a little bit of strategy and use minimal amount of energy in these early rounds. Here's our bracket going into the semifinals. We have Speed Demon Jimmy Webb against Chris's favorite Dalton Bunker.
Yeah, and this is, you know, I just have a feeling this is going to be one of the exciting rounds of the men's course, but also maybe of the competition. So we'll see what happens. But, you know, Ben Hanna, Nathaniel Coleman, it's going to be an interesting round too. Nathaniel is just not going to give up. He is going to do everything he can to top this one out this year.
Neither one of those athletes are going to give an inch. The only thing that we could see happen, Chris, is if they push each other to go out to too fast of a start on that slightly vertical section. The feet are terrible. It's really hard to keep your feet on if you're not paying good attention to your body tension. So we don't want to see anyone making a mistake by going out too quickly.
Okay, so, you know, my comment about Nathaniel being a little slower on that was completely off base, because yesterday his best time was 1:40 and his heat just now was 58:39, so a little slower than those other times, but right in there, sub 1 minute. And again, he's got reserves. He just wasn't using them.
We're going to go to Tim
that was definitely
at the
the
pool
hardest
now with
race of
Nathaniel
tonight for
Coleman.
me. Well, we're getting up with the big players now. You know, these are some of the best climbers in the world, so it's no joke. Do you fancy your chances to win it? I don't want to jinx myself. Hey, good call. Hey, well, best of luck, man. You're looking really strong. I think you do well. Thanks a lot. Sweet.
Okay, so let's talk about this next bracket. We're back here poolside. We got Jimmy Webb, Dalton Bunker coming up.
I don't think we had any surprises in that round, except possibly Dalton Bunker. He did seed well, but he's got to be a surprise, making it all the way to the semifinals of this event.
And again, climbing for 3 days, because he wasn't an invitational, so he had the extra day coming in to prove that he could climb with the big dogs on the first day, second day seeding, and now he's on third day. While some of these invitational climbers, they only had to climb yesterday.
He's definitely showing that he's got what it takes to compete with these athletes. And I think we're going to see really fast times out of both of these semifinal heats.
Jimmy Webb. Jimmy, you made it a little too easy. How's it going?
It may not look easy, but I'm pretty pumped. That's why I'm climbing so fast, is to beat the pump.
So, I mean, you're mainly a boulderer. Do you find that the moves on this are quite easy? Is it mainly the endurance that's the toughest part?
I think it's mainly the endurance. There's definitely some hard moves for sure, but all these guys are so strong. I mean, half the moves aren't very hard for any of them, you know, so it's just really about how fast you can go up and not get pumped and not fall.
What's the toughest part of the route for you?
I don't know. I would say maybe the top, because that's when you kind of start to get pretty tired, and then that last slope is actually quite bad. So when you're kind of a bit juiced, when you hit that hole, you're kind of screaming.
Yeah, I know that slope, but I've hung it. It's not very good.
No.
Hey, well, good luck, man. I hope you do really well.
Thanks, man. Cheers. Yeah.
Nice one.
So Lisa, you know, we haven't really talked at all about your above water climbing experience, and you're also on this wall this weekend. So tell us about what your feelings are about climbing above water.
Chris, I love climbing above water. I think it's one of the most fun things that you can do in climbing. You have to be a little bit more dog than cat to love falling into the water and getting wet. But it's super freeing to be able to climb and not worry so much about falling into the water. It's very soft fall usually. I made it about a third of the way up this wall yesterday, so I can't say I've had that experience of falling from 55 feet. I can't imagine how terrifying that would be. But it was really fun climbing on this wall yesterday. The falls weren't bad. The holds felt amazing. Hopefully you try tomorrow.
Yeah, and we've been making a big deal out of that, but I think that especially down when we get to these quarterfinal rounds, you know, the competitors are up there and just so focused on getting to the top of the wall, executing everything as best they can. I can't imagine that any longer in these quarterfinals and final round, that it's really something that's in their head. And obviously, Joe Diaz just proved that you can hit that water sideways, upside down, and totally survive.
Yeah, you just have to throw a double gainer in, Chris. I'm Lisa Hathaway, sitting here live poolside at the 2017 Psicobloc Masters Deepwater Soloing Competition with Chris Kalous, the Enormo cast, Chris Kalous. Here we are at the Utah Olympic Park seeing some incredible sports action tonight.
Yeah, and actually we're getting close to the end. I can't believe actually I've been down here commentating on number 5. I sat in the stands for the very first one, and you know, like I said earlier, I've been climbing a long time. I thought I'd seen everything in that first year. We were up there throwing some money down on some brackets we'd come up with, having an amazing time, and I just couldn't believe, like I said, how much they'd brought to this competition climbing, how exciting they'd made it with this event. And you know, frankly, Daniel Woods owes me $5 because, you know, he was my guy to the end and didn't quite make it, but an incredible event, and I'm so honored and excited to be here, and I'm having a great time with you, Lisa Hathaway.
I'm having a great time with you, Chris Kalous. We have seen so much exciting sports action tonight. The 3 hours we've been here is flying by. We were both worried about getting butt cramps. My butt's doing okay. How is your butt doing?
Doing great. Actually, they've raised me up to be as tall as you are, so that's pretty cool. We're going behind the scene a little bit. So anyway, let's go back to this giddy first round. We've lucked out. We saw the women's round. So cool. We had the photo finish. We had everything, all the excitement in that round, and the men's round is definitely stacking up to look about the same.
I'm hoping this round, Chris, that we can see these athletes put down some times that were almost as fast as Kyra Condie and Alex Puccio put down on this wall earlier in the women's competition. It would be a surprise to no one if we see a final with Jimmy Webb and Ben Hanna.
Again, also the 2 fastest times on the wall, that would be the obvious choice, but I tell you, none of these guys can be counted out. Nathaniel Coleman, just a vicious competitor. He wants this so bad. You can see in his eyes when he's walking around backstage in the athletes lounge. And of course, you know, I don't know what Dalton Bunker has in the gas tank, but I'm still with them. I'm still rooting for that kid.
We're about to find out what Dalton has in the gas tank, his first time on the big show here at the Psicobloc Masters Comp. We are basing our predictions, Chris, on the time so far of Ben Hanna and Jimmy Webb, but Nathaniel Coleman has not been pushed at all yet. He's got to be the freshest of all these athletes, and he definitely has 6 gear, as does Ben Hanna, as does Jimmy Webb.
Nathaniel Coleman on the left, Debunk on the right.
These two came through the Momentum climbing team together. They've known each other for a long time. They've competed together and with each other and climbed together. no strangers to one another. It would be super fun to see them in a final.
Totally.
Can you imagine what would happen in this Eccles complex if we had two hometown boys in that final?
Joe Diaz, no worse for wear in the hot tub after hitting the pool sideways, giving us an amazing double backflip almost.
I'm sure we're going to start seeing some rumpusing in the rumpus room over there in the athlete village.
Yeah, there's, you know, it's a disappointment to fall off this wall and be eliminated, but then it's time to party back there. You know, a lot of these competitors go straight to the hot tub, start hanging out, laughing. The relief is there. You know, no more of that competitive tension, and you know, it just turns into kind of a good time back there in the athlete lounge.
They'll definitely be having a good time. This is the only event these athletes do that is a single elimination event. It's very unique to climbing to have a competition where you go head to head with another athlete on the exact same route, and at the end of that time, one person moves on and one person does not. Even in speed climbing, they're going to base their proceeding through the rounds on their times.
I'm not quite as experienced as you are, Lisa. Is it normal in competition climbing to have a hot tub in the athlete lounge?
Unfortunately, back in my day, Chris, we were lucky if we had running water, but no, I would have loved to have had a hot tub back in the old days. We're getting ready to roll into this semifinal round. This is going to be so exciting.
Okay, Jimmy Webb on the left.
Your
Dalton
boy
Bunker
Dalton
on the right.
Bunker on the right. I'm anticipating a really, really fast run. I think Dalton's going to push Jimmy to go even faster.
I'm not making any predictions. I'm not jinxing anybody on this one.
I don't want to jinx anybody, but Jimmy is moving so fast and he's moving so
Slight edge
confidently.
against Dalton.
And in a big
opening it up a little bit
with experience. Dalton Bunker had a little bit of a foot slip there before he had to set up for the dyno, but he sent that dyno with no problem. Working through the double fangs. Jimmy Webb is flying.
Smoking up this wall. Jimmy's edging him slowly but surely, getting half body length.
But Dalton is not giving up,
No,
Chris. He is right
no.
on his heels.
Yeah.
Jimmy is making this route look easy.
Yeah.
He's got that high-risk move at the top, down, no problem. He's over the top. He does not even
Come on,
look out
Dalton's
of
got
breath.
to finish for pride and honor.
Come on, Dalton.
Jimmy Webb, two-time champion. One time was a conditional championship when the 2015 event had to be canceled due to lightning and rain. And Jimmy Webb was one of the athletes who was almost struck by lightning on the wall. He's not showing any concern about that now. It's a beautiful night, and he sat up there and waited for Dalton to finish. They're going to jump off together, Chris.
That was an amazing round. Not anything that we didn't expect. You know, again, still the man to beat. We don't know what's going to happen in the next round, but Jimmy Webb is making this thing look
It's his
easy.
to lose at this point, Chris, I would say. Dalton Bunker, though, he kept on Jimmy's heel the entire time. He lost a little bit of ground on the final head wall. Not as familiar with the top of the wall as Jimmy Webb was. But he kept Jimmy Webb honest in this round, I think, Chris.
Absolutely.
And the last two competitors of the semi-finals, Ben Hannah, please make your way to the stage.
Jimmy Webb up there on the top of the wall, cheering on Dalton Bunker, because like we said many times during this broadcast, Chris, the camaraderie in this sport, it goes beyond the crags and it goes to the competitions.
Yeah, and this competition is just filled with so much just primal fun. You know, climbing above a pool, just going for it, throwing tricks. Some of these kids throwing tricks off the top of the wall. It's, you know, there's just so much fun involved in this thing. All these competitors talk about coming here each year. The ones that have been before come back just ready to have a good time.
The only thing that could make this event better, Chris, is if it was above the warm waters of the Mediterranean on the coast of Mallorca, where deep water soloing got its origins.
Okay, so the next section of the finals, Ben Hannah, Nathaniel Coleman.
I think this round, Chris, is anybody's to win. Both of these athletes have every bit of potential to win. There's no favorite in this round. Nathaniel wants to vanquish the demons of 2016, narrowly losing in the finals to Jan Hoya. But Ben Hanna, he's super fast, he's super composed.
Looks like Jimmy Webb shaved another 10 seconds off of his time, so he's getting faster and faster each round, down to 46.27. And, you know, again, like I said, there's reserves in there. We don't know how deep they go. Whoever wins this round is going to have to go up against that.
We could see 45 seconds in this round right here, Chris.
But in the moment, they're just worried about winning this round, getting through to it, and then they'll deal with Jimmy Webb.
Challenge. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nathaniel Coleman and Ben Hanna off to a neck-and-neck start, just like we expect. But these athletes are moving so fast.
There's just like a half a second.
Oh, Nathaniel Coleman just had a little bit of a problem with his sequence there, a rare problem for Nathaniel. He's really going to have to dig in if he wants to catch up to Ben.
He's trying to catch up.
He's trying, but Ben has got this route in lockdown, the only athlete to make it to the top of the wall in every round, and he is showing that prowess now.
Keep in mind, too, that they're making it look easy, but they can fall off. So
and they are
it's not
neck and
just
neck
about
again.
who's going the fastest.
Nathaniel has made up some ground. No, Ben Hanna.
Hanna's got the top.
No feet necessary for Ben Hanna. He wanted that so badly, Chris. He's pretty happy with that.
Yeah, he just got faster and faster and faster as he went up that wall. Feet starting to cut. So confident on the final head wall on that route.
He's definitely sending a message to Jimmy Webb, too, that he can climb fast and that this is going to be quite a race in the final round.
Okay, so we're waiting for the time on Hanna to come down. I don't know if it's going to match Jimmy, but it's got to be close.
I think it's going to be super close, Chris, because Nathaniel was pushing him the whole way. It was only when Nathaniel...
Oh my God,
really?
We just got the number down here, 41.99, almost a sub 40.
Well,
5
Chris, I
seconds less
said
than Jimmy.
we could see 45 seconds in this round, and we saw 41 seconds.
Jimmy's is 46.27.
Incredible.
So Ben's 5 seconds faster than Jimmy Webb.
Well, if a lightning storm came in right now, Ben Hanna would be our winner, but Ben Hanna does not have that luxury, Chris. He's got one more round to go against returning champion Jimmy Webb.
Lisa Hathaway, I think Ben Hanna is the lightning storm.
Ben Hanna is the lightning storm on the Masters wall.
Yeah, look, at the beginning of this, you know, from the gates, we saw Jimmy Webb handily destroy this route, make it look easy. There's Jimmy standing there confidently backstage. But, you know, and I was worried. I was honestly worried that this was just going to be some sort of blowout with Jimmy Webb just waltzing into the finals. But I'm confident now we've got a great
one heck of a
final round.
Absolutely, Chris. Ben Hanna getting out of the pool. The athletes are going to sit and rest and warm up in the hot tub for a minute. They're going to take a little break before this final round, try to get rid of some lactic acid, and then we're going to see the final we've been waiting for, Chris.
Again, Jimmy Webb just stepping down those brackets. I thought it was going to be an easy thing for him, but each competitor pushed him a little harder. He got a little faster, but man, Ben Hanna has got the possibility to take that guy down.
Ben Hanna is on fire, and we're going to go to commercial now, Chris, and we'll be right back with this exciting men's final.
Okay, so we're back at the Psicobloc Masters waiting for the final round in the men's bracket. Jimmy Webb against Ben Hanna, and we've got Mike Call here again, media director, one of the head honchos here at Psicobloc. You got any predictions for this last round?
It's tough. Ben came up out of nowhere, and people that know who Ben is know he's really good and he's capable of this, but you know, to come up against the kingpins of this wall like Nathaniel or Jimmy, it's cool to watch him step up and just drop the hammer like that. So, you know, his last time in the last heat was 41 seconds. Jimmy's best time in the last heat was 46 seconds. So if you were to just do the math, you'd think that Ben's got it, but I kind of have this feeling that Jimmy's got another gear he can drop into. I think he's sleeping a little bit, and I think he's going to open it up on the next round.
Yeah, I can't say that I disagree with you on that. It feels like, yeah, I haven't seen him really go for it up there, and that's probably what we're going to see happen. Yep. But yeah, either way, we've got another great final. We had an amazing end to the women's bracket. You got to be psyched on this great competition you put up this year, and we're almost to the end.
Yeah, it's been amazing. The women's round is incredible. The showmanship that everybody's had this year, flips off the top. I mean, I'm just glad that guy's okay. You know,
totally,
I mean, I thought the worst case scenario. You know, but you know, I just wanted to just one more time. I know if you weren't paying attention earlier, or if you weren't watching the stream earlier, I have a really good friend. All of us here in Salt Lake have a really good friend named Dave Bell, who could really use a hand right now. And I'm just going to have a graphic put up on the screen. My buddy Dave Bell is suffering from cancer. He really needs everybody's support. If you could go to his GoFundMe site, give him a donation. It really helps his family. He's got 3 kids at home, and he really needs some help just getting through this hard time. This is one of my oldest friends. Everybody here in Salt Lake loves this guy. He started Pusher. He started the front climbing gym. You know, he's just a visionary. He's put up First Ascents in Little Cottonwood, American Fork, all kinds of places. But mostly he's a friend of mine. He's a member of the tribe. And if anybody out there can help out, please do. Check it out, and I'll take it back to the comp. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, and remember, this is a community. We take care of each other in just a little bit from a lot of people, which is how the internet works. It's how things can come together on there. A little bit from a lot of people. You don't have to drop a bunch, but it will add up, and his family, you know, will really appreciate it.
Yeah, makes a big difference. But yeah, I hope he's got a computer open and he's actually watching this. He loves climbing more than anybody, so we'll start showing him a good final round.
Awesome. Thanks, Mike, and thanks again for a great competition this year.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so we are back. We're waiting for the final round of the men's competition. We're going to see what kind of crazy round we get. I just can't believe, you know, it can top what we saw in the women's round. You know, there's so much drama over there, but who knows? Who knows what we're going to get? Ben Hanna climbing like a fiend up there, you know, putting down these times. What do we got for times? Did you figure that out, Lisa?
We had Ben Hanna putting down 41 seconds, Chris, surpassing my goal, 45 seconds in that round. Jimmy Webb, 46 seconds. But like we said, Jimmy Webb has not really been pushed to go into that extra gear just yet.
Yeah, I don't think he has. We may be wrong about that, but I don't know. He looked so controlled and calm. It's like he hasn't gotten desperate up there for a second.
Look at him back. There he is backstage by the pole. He does not look like he is about to compete in the final of one of the biggest climbing competitions on American soil. That guy looks calm, cool, confident. And you know, Chris, he almost got hit by lightning one time on this wall, but I think he is the lightning on this wall. Here's our graphic. You can see how we went from the quarterfinals down to this final matchup between Jimmy Webb and Ben Hanna.
And again, Hanna. Jimmy Webb marching down from that first seed. You can see he just popped down each time in each of these finals to get to this last round against Ben Hanna. And again, Ben Hanna
showing he deserves to be here in this final.
He totally deserves to be here. Totally deserves to be here.
And there they are, talking together, talking about their hands, probably talking about what the texture of the holds feels like. If they're getting a little bit of, you can get some flesh wounds when you're climbing on plastic holds. And I'm sure at this point, these guys are looking at their 6th trip up the wall. Their hands are probably starting to feel a little bit raw, but they do not look like 2 athletes about to go head-to-head in the final of this event. They look like 2 guys hanging out at the crag.
Yeah, or hanging out in the hot tub.
Jimmy's the old guard expert here, which is kind of funny to say because he's like a rockin' 28 years old or something like that. Hanna, the young gun, climbing super strong. Neither one of them looks worried for this. I think they're just really stoked to put on a great show.
Yeah, and you know, watching Jimmy Webb climb this route and actually watching all these competitors climb this route, after a while it just does start to look easy. You know, it belies the fact that honestly in my lifetime these 2 routes could have been the 2 hardest routes in the country, maybe even the world. Not that long ago, 15, 20 years ago, these were contenders. And, you know, climbing has come so far. These competitors are so strong. Young kids so strong. Jimmy Webb so strong that they're just eating this route up like it looks like it's 5'10".
They definitely are making it look easy, and it is nothing like easy to get to the top of this wall. Chris, if I was put on the line, Ben Hanna is climbing incredibly well, but what did I say before the event, Chris?
Yeah.
I called it for Jimmy Webb.
She actually claimed that Jimmy Webb was the wind beneath her wings, is I think what she actually said. So, yeah, that's how serious we've gotten about this. But I'd love to make this a sporting event and take Ben Hanna against your Jimmy Webb, but I just don't know if that's good money in my world. I think he has a chance. Maybe he too has not quite reached his limit of how fast he can go.
He absolutely has a chance. I think your good money, Chris, could go on Ben Hanna. And right now, I'm going to say I'll put $5 on Jimmy Webb if you put $5 on Ben Hanna.
It's done. I just got some word that some of the other productions are looking at Ben Hanna, so I'm taking that bet, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm going to see your 5 and raise you 10, Chris.
Well, wait a second. We just started with 5 against 5.
I know, but I saw your 5 and raised you 10. Because I really, really think that we have not seen 6th gear from Jimmy Webb tonight. He has not been pushed. I think he showed us he has speed, but Ben Hanna had to climb fast to beat Nathaniel.
That's true. He was pushed. So, all right, I'm going to give a shout out to my boy Sean at Climbing Zine. We were doing brackets the very first year, up in the stands, just having a good time, trying to liven the mood up there and have some fun. So I'm going to take that $10 bet, double digits, Ben Hanna to your Jimmy Webb. Are we good?
We're good. I think you owe me anyway, Chris. You definitely owe me money for something. So either way, I'm going to come out a winner in this event. But this crowd is super stoked to have another lightning fast final. We saw a great final in the women's event. We're going to see a great final in the men's event. The music is cranking. People are dancing. There's a disco ball up on the top tier there. You can't see it from our perspective, but I saw it earlier. People are stoked for this to go down.
Yeah, in this venue, it was sort of a nexus of the idea, and then I think those guys were presented with this incredible venue. It's so beautiful up here. We've got an amazing night. The Utah Olympic Park is just the perfect place to have this thing happen. And I know they're looking around the world and doing these events elsewhere, but I don't know if they can top this venue. We'll see what happens in the next couple of years.
And everybody here who participates in climbing, Chris, has got to be looking down the road to 2020 Tokyo, where climbing is going to be featured as an exhibition sport. And some of the athletes that we are seeing here today that know how to combine speed, difficulty, and bouldering, any one of these athletes we could be seeing in Tokyo in 2020.
Yeah, so 2017 Psicobloc Series, Master Series. We're waiting for the finals.
One question that's been burning on my mind, Chris, is this is our last time at the Olympic Park. And the Outdoor Retailer Trade Show, which has gone hand in hand, this competition has gone hand in hand with the Outdoor Retailer Trade Show. It's moving to Denver next year. What do you think is going to be the history of this event?
Well, it's not going away. They're going to keep trying to do these. They're going to expand these things. Again, it's just like they put so much, added extra bonus excitement, rock and roll into competitive climbing. I just can't imagine that other parts of this country, other parts of the world don't want these events. I think it has a bright future. It's just so exciting. And the truth is it's an event that even non-climbers can really connect with. Sometimes, heavy bouldering events or competition events can be a little bit hard to penetrate, but you want to look up at this wall, you watch somebody hit the water, that just makes sense.
It's going to hurt to see this athlete leave Utah, but we're going to see this last heat of this event as it stands in Utah. It's going to be a blazing fast heat between Ben Hanna and returning champion Jimmy Webb. I can't wait for this to get going, Chris.
Yeah, Ben Hanna is psyched. He's warming up those hands. He's, like Alex Puccio did earlier in the round, he's got chalk all the way up his arm.
And then we've got Jimmy Webb just looking so composed. He's just ready to fly. He's like, let's do this. I've been ready. I was born ready. I'm Jimmy Webb.
I think, you know, there's two different styles here. Ben Hanna just jumping around, laughing, smiling, and then we've got, you know, laser focus over there with Jimmy Webb. He's not messing around.
The crowd is going wild, and we're going to sit back
Here's what
and
we've
just
been waiting
enjoy
for in
this
the men's
final.
round.
A collective breath holding right now before they start.
2, 1, go!
Very close. Ben Hanna's slight lead at the moment.
But no surprise, this is a lightning fast start. Both of these athletes are flying up the wall.
Oh, this is unreal.
Jimmy is
this
looking
is
a little
unreal.
more
I'm
measured,
feeling
but
nice.
they
The
are-
double dyno together. I don't know.
Come on, guys.
They are neck and neck. Oh, Jimmy is a little bit pulled ahead right now.
And they're
On the
climbing
tongue
so
move.
fast.
Ben skipped a move. Oh my God, Ben Hanna is off the wall. Jimmy Webb just gave us the shake of victory. He is so excited.
Oh man, you know, Ben
He's
Hanna
taking-
just had to go so hard. He was taking chances, skipping holds. He knew he had to put something new into his repartee, and he just could not do it.
And Jimmy Webb taking his time, enjoying the final moves on this beautiful head wall here at the Utah Olympic Park. He is once again our champion, our only 3-time champion, Jimmy Webb.
Yeah, and Ben Hanna, like I said, he knew he had to go harder than he had, taking chances, throwing his weight around.
This is where Jimmy really,
And he just couldn't control that swing when he dynoed to that hold, and that's a terrible hold.
this is where Jimmy really started turning it on. He's much more relaxed than Ben during that section. Ben might have gotten ahead of himself a little bit, Chris.
He actually, I think when he came off, he like grabbed his head in frustration as he was flying through the air.
But he knew he had to go fast. We're about to see Jimmy Webb.
Oh, and he
top the
does it with
wall.
style. He hits the lip of the
And
wall
the
with
fist
style
bump
and a
of-
fist bump.
Fist bump of victory.
He obviously came here to win.
He and Kyra Condie both had demons to vanquish, and boy, Chris, did they vanquish those demons. Swimming out of the pool, he's not going to opt for the toe back to the side of the pool. He's probably got a lot of energy right now.
Nice stroke, actually, Jimmy Webb.
He did have a good stroke. We commented earlier that he looked like he could have been a swimmer in a previous life, but that was a phenomenal final. Getting a kiss, victory kiss back there. But Chris, I gotta say, I called it.
You did call it, and I will be handing you the $10 in a ceremony later tonight on top of that ski lift about 2:30 in the morning.
And then we're gonna ski down the ski lift, and we're gonna fall in the water. It was hard to bet against Jimmy Webb, Chris, but
I
it was
know.
also hard to bet against Ben Hanna. Maybe the fact that he had to climb 3 days consecutively played a slight role in that.
Okay, so we're going to go ahead and throw it poolside to Tim Emmett.
It's not my favorite. It's my favorite competition. Hands down. Everywhere.
Is it really? That's so cool.
I love it. I love it. It's so much fun.
Well, what do you like? I mean, why?
It's a really friendly environment. Everyone's just having a great time. It's not very stressful competition-wise. Like, of course, the fall is stressful, but everyone's just here to have a good time. And the head-on-head is awesome. The pure adrenaline, just climbing a 50-foot wall with no clips, and you're like over the water. I don't know. It's great. Just a lot of adrenaline, a lot of fun.
You guys definitely look like you're having a lot of fun. That's awesome. Nice one, Ben. Well done, mate. Sweet. Now then, where's Mr. Webb?
Okay, so we've got the winner poolside. We're going to go to an award ceremony soon here.
Chris, that was as exciting of a men's final as we could hope for. I'm sorry for Ben Hanna that he had a little foot slip. He might have got a little ahead of himself, but he pushed Jimmy Webb to go into the high gear of his soul and run like an antelope out of control.
For a minute he did have to push him, but then I think, you know, when he came off the wall, then we just downshifted back to Jimmy Webb style and finished it in style with a little bit of a flourish to grab the lip, a fist bump to the crowd. The guy's stoked. But I tell you, Ben Hanna has got nothing to be embarrassed about. That was an amazing round. He also just stepped right through all the rounds, getting faster and faster times. And, you know, when he's back here again next year or wherever this thing is going to happen, you know, he's a guy to watch.
He's absolutely a guy to watch in the future of this event, and he did put down by far the fastest time of the night, climbing this wall in 41 seconds. Maybe he went a little too fast, but he had Nathaniel Coleman that he had to climb against, and Nathaniel Coleman, finalist last year, he knew he couldn't risk a tactical race against Nathaniel Coleman. He had to really put it down. Might have been a little bit tired. It's hard to say. I mean, these athletes are all so well trained. I don't think they feel the fatigue as much as we think they feel the fatigue, because I know I'd be fatigued.
Yeah, and just in that last replay, the look on Jimmy Webb's face when he grabbed the top, this was not something that was super easy for him. Oh, we're going to throw it poolside to Tim Emmett for an interview.
Tired. It's really, really close for most of that climb there. Like, what was going through your mind?
I just know Ben's super quick, so just trying to go as fast as I could. And honestly, I got lucky. Made a mistake and slipped off. And otherwise, he probably would have whooped my ass.
I think you made a little bit of a mistake earlier on, and then he took the lead, and then you managed to get it back. And I mean, what happened there?
Honestly, it was so quick. I don't even remember. I just as fast as I could. And make a mistake, you just gotta like think forward, keep going fast, and don't let that play with your head.
So how does it feel to be a 3 times champion at the Psicobloc comp?
Feels pretty good, yeah. Second one was kind of a jiff, but that was a good win for me, so I'm stoked.
I mean, what do you think of this competition? Have you enjoyed yourself here?
Yeah, every year I enjoy it, man. It's one of my favorite events to come to. It's different, it's got a different head game to it, you know, it's scary, and I think that's a cool added element to our sport, so it's a great time. Thanks for Chris and everybody for putting it on, and pretty stoked for next year.
Hang on a second, do you actually get scared?
Jimmy? Yeah, dude, every year I get scared. And then you can make a big fall, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm good, I'm fine, it's not even scary anymore, and then next thing you know, it's like, all right guys, climb up on the wall, it's your go, and we're like over there, like chalking up, like, shit, man, I'm kind of scared.
Well, it doesn't look like it. Hey, well, can we have a big round of applause for all the male competitors? And Jimmy Webb, champion 2017, Mr. Sharma.
Yeah, Jimmy. Just, I mean, thanks to everyone, thanks to all competitors. Just a magical evening, as always. So here's the trophy, man.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. Can't wait for next year.
Yeah, dude, for sure.
Good job, Jimmy.
Thanks, dude.
Nice one, Jimmy.
Cool, man. Cheers, yeah.
That was awesome, man.
Thanks, dude.
Hey, well, thanks for everyone for coming. Thanks for all the sponsors to help make it happen. Thanks to this guy, Mr. Sharma, for coming up with the idea. Wouldn't be here without him. And thanks to all the competitors for putting on such a good show. It's been sensational. So, yeah, good times and good night to you all. Cheers. See you next year.
Fun of an event as we could have here at the Utah Olympic Park.
Yeah, it was a crazy final for the men's, even crazier finals for the women's. I don't know if I've seen in the 5 years a better event than we had tonight, you know. I'm definitely a little biased because I got to sit here and watch the whole thing up front, but I tell you what, this was an amazing event.
We definitely had great seats for this event, Chris, and we got to see the athletes go through all 3 rounds and really change their game as each round went on, from the seeding round yesterday where the athletes were a little more tentative to some of the fastest times we've ever seen on this wall on routes that were not easy. There we see Kyra Condie, women's champion, narrowly edging out Michaela Kirsch. for her first championship on the Psicobloc Masters competition.
So jazzed when she was here in the booth. She couldn't sit still. It was an amazing thing to watch. This young competitor just go nuts.
I was worried we were going to have to give her an injection of some sort. And here we have Jimmy Webb and Ben Hanna going neck and neck for most of the route until Ben had an unfortunate foot slip, caused him to fall off the wall, gave Jimmy Webb an easy cruise to the top. He got to relax, have fun. He is super stoked. And here is Jimmy with his Psicobloc Masters trophy back in his hands again. Jimmy Webb is our only repeat winner of this event, and that's pretty exciting for him.
Sit down here this whole time and comment on this event that I've just been loving for years. What a great event. Great. The Olympic Park, amazing venue. Thanks so much.
The Olympic Park, an amazing venue, and thank you to all of our competitors and to the sponsors of this event, Mountain Hardware, Cliff Bar, Prana, a bunch of others. It's been a great event. Thank you so much for having us. I hope you enjoyed this live stream, and we are out. Mic drop.